Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. And this is now episode 206. In this episode, we are going to give our final AFC predictions and talk about the 49ers signing Jimmy Garoppolo and what it means for Trey Lance. Now, AFC predictions, this is going to be a big time show.
Big time.
Next show, NFC predictions, our final standings for that conference. And then the show after that is going to be a playoff bracket, which is going to be very interesting.
I thought we were doing AFC playoff bracket today.
No. Do you want it? Do you want to do
No, I
bracket?
thought we were doing a different episode.
My bad.
I mean, what do you guys, would you want to just do the playoff bracket in one show?
Nah, we can do another one.
Let's milk that.
It'd be perfect. Exactly.
By that time comes around, it's going to be week one.
That's fine.
We can, well, the
We could
show
do it on Saturday or Sunday.
the show before week one.
Next week is NFC. Or next episode's NFC.
Yeah.
So we can do the playoff
We definitely
for
can.
both.
We can do it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Look at that. We're planning it right now live on air.
But Tuesday, I thought it's NBA.
No.
So then we could do
we're
the-
doing
We're
three.
doing three
We're
football in
doing
a row.
three straight
Okay.
football episodes.
Yeah.
That's what I thought we were doing.
Okay.
I was thinking maybe we can do 2 straight football episodes, then do a basketball one, then before week one, which I think is
Thursday. It's
It's the
next
8th.
Then
next
A week from
Thursday.
Thursday.
That's why I say maybe
So then
next
do
episode we
3
do
football straight and then
Yes.
do the basketball on
we
Thursday or
could
Friday.
record next Friday, recap the Thursday game, and then talk
Go
about
into football.
Sundays.
Good idea.
Or do you think we should do the show before Thursday, give our week one predictions?
We can make the
pick
week
on
one
them?
predictions on the basketball episode.
No, we
for
could do
one.
Tuesday. We could do the playoff prediction, do our week one prediction, and then we could just do
Some basketball segments.
recapping the game after Thursday, and then
That
go
too.
basketball.
Yeah, that too.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
Just know that we have 3 football episodes coming up. AFC finals predictions, which is this show, NFC next show, and then I'm not sure if it's going to be the 3rd or 4th show, but our playoff bracket is going to be coming up.
My bad, bro. I was trying to spit out my gum because I don't.
I
want
think
to
it's
chew
better
into
for
mic.
the playoff bracket to be one show, because if it's just the AFC, we're going to basically give the AFC champion and then not have like an opponent.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, to go in the Super Bowl.
No, we need both.
But that's
I know you were looking forward to
I
me
was because
outing
I
the
was
Colts.
looking forward to, all right, playoff time. Who the Colts have to play? Now this is the conversation we've had all off season, but that could wait.
Yeah, that can wait. And also, just to let you guys know, we recorded a Patreon exclusive episode
Yes, sir.
yesterday. And going forward, see, we love to spoil you guys, and we're going to make the Patreon exclusive episodes only for Patreon members and Discord members. But if you are in our chalkboard as well, which is free to join, you can get access to the episode.
Wow, we are spoiling y'all.
I didn't agree to that.
I didn't agree with that.
What do you think about it, Riv?
I don't agree.
You feel like it should just be for Patreon?
I feel like I'm
There's-
just trolling. We could do that shit.
There's a lot of people in that chalkboard.
There's mad
There's
people
a
on the
lot
chalkboard.
of people in
But
that chalkboard.
yeah, fuck it, give it to them. Yeah, sure. Pause.
So that means we have to give something else to our Patreon members
wow.
then.
We do.
Something even better for them.
The Patreon exclusive should be that the guests get to come on. Like, we get 2 guests that come in and do a segment. Like, I mean, I feel like that's pretty easy.
That's fair.
That is fair.
That's tough.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
And that could be for those that are paying the upper echelon tiers.
They go first.
Yep.
And then
No, not that they go first, that they get to come onto the show. We
you
actually
can't
let
just
them.
but you can't just because a dude paying $1 and another dude
No,
paying
that's
10.
not. That's exactly correct.
But the dude that's paying $1, I feel like he can get his turn. He just
But
gotta
that's the
wait.
tier.
Eventually.
That's facts.
Eventually.
But
That's
that's
what I'm
the
saying.
tier, though, because you pay that
that's
tier
what I-
to be our guest on
That's
the
what
show.
I just said though. I said the dudes who get paid the most, they go first, and you
Well,
break it
ultimately,
down.
the people on Patreon are the one that are asking us questions. to
Facts. Like
format
they
the
get,
page.
they
They
get
get questions
either way.
answered.
They do.
But we're about
they
to
get
open
shouted
it
out.
up. You know what? Y'all figure it
And
out.
also the Discord voice chat. Like,
Well, I'll
we're
say
in
this:
there.
chalkboards, they're only getting it to view it. Patreon, if you're on the Patreon, you get to actually ask us questions,
Okay.
get your questions answered on the show.
Okay, fine.
And if you're in a certain tier, you get to actually have an appearance on the show.
Fair.
Something that I've been wanting to do, but now we actually have the opportunity to do so.
Okay,
Very tough.
that's
Right?
fine.
I feel like that's firm.
So chalkboard could just look at it.
Chalkboard literally
gives
just
you
gets access to watch it.
Lit.
I get the link.
yeah, all they get is the link. Yeah,
We'll link y'all.
That's true.
There we go. I like that. Good. I like that we just did a lot of planning in the
In
first
like 3 minutes.
10 minutes. of
Yeah.
the
We
show.
have a big time announcement coming soon too.
Very
We're not
soon.
announcing it yet.
Nah, we can't.
You know,
Alright,
but
keep it
just
quiet.
sneak peek. 2 big time sponsors sponsoring our show.
Red, why are you looking
That is
confused?
lit.
Big announcement.
Come on, Rick. You know what's up.
We should have it hopefully ready for next episode.
Yeah.
We should.
This is dope, man. Just because, like, I know we're probably going to talk about it more when, we actually announce it, but I think it's dope that this is our first football season or first season of anything where we're actually being sponsored, and that's a credit to the fans just being so loyal
That's
and
on
viewing our
God.
content
That's on God.
and pushing us, and with the positivity, the comments, it all means a lot. It all goes along.
And give us a round of applause, please, for the 30,000 subscribers.
Shout out.
That is a huge accomplishment right there. And literally, just as Joel said, that's all credit to you guys. You guys coming in every single episode that we drop and showing us love just means the world to us. And it is just cannot be emphasized enough. We would not be anything without y'all. So thank you very much.
Let's get on to the meat of the show.
Hot.
AFC West predictions.
Before we get on, if you want a Riv Academy T-shirt,
No cap.
tell them where to get a Riv.
Honest to God, you're really useless.
Pickasidepodcast.com.
You cannot do that.
Sorry, my
bro.
bad.
Like, that was
Pickasidepodcast.com?
crazy. Pick a side podcast.
Is that a website?
No, yes. Pickasidepodcast.com.
You know what you
I'll
can
be
do?
honest. You know why I said that? Because I didn't know the website.
You know what's crazy? You know what? I'll make it even better. Just DM me personally, and then I will just give you a link to the account, and then you can just go buy one. So just personally DM me. I always answer. I'm always on my phone. So you can just DM me. Instagram, Twitter, all that. I'll even throw you a follow if you go get the shirt.
Real?
So yeah,
Nice.
Go do all that. Instagram, Twitter, DM me, and then I'll link Joel, and then you know what I'm saying? Do all that.
All right, and
don't do that ever again.
And the
Bro, I
last,
didn't know the website. I
Bro,
was
what
fun
makes
to
you
do.
think I would know?
you should have just.
You could have impressed
Yo,
us.
Drew, what's the website name?
I really think that you should know it, though.
No, it's literally
I didn't know
Pickside
it, I'll be
Podcast.
honest. We don't really talk about the website. Yeah. We never talk about
All
the
right,
website.
the last shout out I want to give is to our boy Justin Alba. Remember I mentioned him on the show a couple of episodes ago. He actually just had surgery to get his tumor removed in his lungs. And the doctor says they're actually amazed that there is no trace of the tumor anymore.
Wow. Let's go.
So obviously,
bless.
Justin,
God bless.
I'm so grateful. I'm so happy that everything went well. Just wanted to give you that quick shout out, King. Happy you're doing better.
Yeah, that's great news. AFC West predictions. Let's get on to the show.
Let's go.
Because this is the toughest division in the AFC, I think, by
Easy.
far.
Man, toughest division in the NFL.
Yeah, it is
I didn't even know
very,
she had shades on.
Turn
very
me up.
difficult.
Yeah, just because it goes with the hat. Look,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
We're good.
Now,
Thanks, bro.
final
Shout out to Riv for
AFC
doing it first.
final AFC West predictions. Drew, I feel like you're the only person that's going to have the Broncos won. So why do you have the Broncos won?
I have the Broncos won because we got the number one thing that we desperately needed, and that was a quarterback. And we didn't just get an average quarterback. We got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in Russell Wilson. I've said it for years now. Joe can attest to this. If we got a quarterback, we're Super Bowl contenders. And again, like I just mentioned, we didn't just get anyone regular. We got Russell Wilson. Now, you pair that along with Jerry Jeudy, you pair that along with Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, who has the potential to be a top 5 back in the NFL if given the opportunity. And believe it or not, I do believe he's going to have that opportunity this season. With a solid O-line, we don't have one of the better offensive line in the NFL, but it's definitely an upgrade to what he had over there in Seattle. And then our defense. Our defense has been a cornerstone for us for the past couple of, basically since Peyton Manning has been gone. Of course, that is a testament to Vic Fangio as well, and he's no longer with us. However, I still think that they have the concepts and the ideas of what to do already since they already had been coached with Fangio. It's not just going to suddenly be gone and they don't know what's up. Pat Surtain also needs a shout-out by himself also because he is going to be a superstar corner in this league. Last season, his rookie season, he was tremendous, and I think that he takes a step forward even more in his progression this sophomore season. He will be the true lockdown number one corner that we need him to be. Our secondary is amazing. Justin Simmons also deserves some love. Kareem Jackson deserves some love. Ronald Darby is one of those guys that I look at and just wish that we had the Kyle Fuller, the Bryce Callahan last season, but even still, Ronald Darby is good enough to hold it down at that cornerback too. The only weakness I look at with our team right now is linebacker. We didn't keep Joe Sherbert, which I was absolutely shocked about. We cut him like immediately after signing to a contract, but I understand it. To a degree, but I would have liked to have him just to have a little bit more depth at linebacker. But you have Randy Gregory. It looks like Bradley Chubb has been a standout in training camp so far. I'm very optimistic with our team, and it really all starts with Russell Wilson in that offense.
You know, I'm not surprised Chubb is a standout. The offensive line's not that good. I wonder why.
He's on the side of Garrett Bowles, who's actually
he's really
amongst
Garrett
the
Bowles
best left tackles
had,
in the game.
What, 1 or 2 good years so far?
Two, but back to back.
He's been in the league for 3-4 years.
No. But he had a rough start.
He got his contract in his 4th year, so he had just his 5th year.
Well,
but he was great. His contract year, and he was great last season.
So back to back.
Our offensive lines, don't sleep on Lloyd Cushenberry. Don't do that. All right, Lloyd Cushenberry, 3rd-round pick last season, had a really good rookie season, has been the standout on our offensive line this training camp. Dalton Risner is firm enough to get the job done. The rest of the guys, we're going to see. It is a wait and see there, but protecting Russ's blind side is the most important part, and we have that locked down.
The Broncos have a good team. All offseason, I have been hell-bent on the notion that I think that the narrative that the Broncos were always this quarterback away was a bit overblown. And it's not because the Broncos are not a good team. It's because you look at the AFC and the AFC is stacked. You have mentioned that on previous occasions. The AFC is stacked to the point that even if you get this big-time quarterback, well, that big-time quarterback isn't as good as those other AFC big-time quarterbacks.
Debatable.
And the rosters are
rich.
good.
This is rich.
Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
This is rich.
Russell Wilson's on their level.
No, but this is rich.
No.
Your argument is funny. It's
I know where we're
Your
going.
Because
argument's
he's essentially
funny.
saying
I know where we're going with this.
No,
It's going to get better.
We all know.
It's going to
We
get better.
all
Way
know.
He's
better.
not on Justin Herbert's level either.
No, he's not.
Herbert is. They're all better.
Yeah.
But you're telling me there can't be one
But
season.
that's the
I
last
apologize
one.
to
Mahomes, Allen, Herbert.
I
Then he's right there.
I really do apologize for cutting you off because you shouldn't do that. But I just want to say,
There's a world he can outplay Herbert in a playoff game?
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, we
There's-
don't know. Herbert hasn't been in the playoffs.
No, and that's not what I was going to say.
but I don't think he's better than Herbert.
My point being, there isn't a seat. You don't think that this year Russell can be better than Herbert statistically, play wise this year?
could be.
Russell has those capabilities.
Okay, but looking at it from a realistic perspective, I'm not saying that that can happen.
We're talking about Russ, who's been a top 3 quarterback once in his career.
I understand
also.
that, but Herbert in his first 2 seasons has the most yards and touchdowns
Otherworldly.
of any quarterback in
I
NFL
don't disagree.
history. We look at
Russ
the
can be better than Mahomes.
We look at the Chargers. Their weapons are better than the Broncos. Their offensive line is significantly better than Denver's too. They have better pieces around Herbert for that offense to thrive. The Broncos, to me, I think are a big mystery because can I see them winning the division? Yes. Can I see them being 3rd place? Yes. Can I see them being that 6th team that makes it to the playoffs? Yes. Teddy Bridgewater last year, I know he has his flaws as a quarterback, but when he played, the Broncos had a winning record. The Broncos would have finished with the winning record had he played and Drew Lock didn't sub in for him because Drew Lock cost them a lot of games. Bridgewater was first in accuracy under pressure before the Week 9 bye, and the Broncos' offensive line finished average in pass block win rate and run block win rate. So Teddy Bridgewater was otherworldly good under pressure, and that's something like is Russell Wilson good under pressure? Yes.
Absolutely.
Will he rank number 1? I don't know if he'll rank number 1. And was that an outlier stat for
Probably.
Bridgewater? Yes. That's why I don't think you can't replicate that again. And the offensive line allowed pressure at the 12th highest rate in the NFL. So Russell Wilson, he's going to an average offensive line. He himself has caused himself to force pressure upon himself because he does have a tendency to hold the ball longer than usual. Last year, he took 20 sacks when he held the ball for 3 seconds or more. So he does take on a lot of sacks. The good thing about Denver is that they have the easiest schedule of pass defenses. And that's why I think
facts.
they will make the playoffs. For me, the AFC West is 3 teams that are making the playoffs. The Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Broncos. The Chargers, to me, are 13-4. The Chiefs, 12-5. The Broncos, 11-6. The Raiders, they don't make the playoffs, and I'll get into that now because I know the Chiefs and the Chargers one is a bit more obvious. They went 4-0 in overtime games last year, the Raiders did. The most since the 2011 Cardinals, and they went 5-1 in games decided by a field goal or less, and 7-2 in one-score games. That type of outcome is probably not going to happen this upcoming season, and they trailed in 15 games last season, the 4th most of any team. The only other teams that were worse were the New York Jets, a top 10 pick, the Lions, the 2nd overall pick, and the Giants, a top 7 pick. Against top 15 pass offenses, they allowed 48 points, 41, 33, 32, 32, 28, and 26 points. This year, they are facing the 3rd most difficult schedule of passing offenses. They are a team that has to win via shootout. I think their defense is going to get exposed. They're going to be a bottom 20 defense this upcoming season. And can the Raiders win you shootouts? Can Derek Carr win you that? Yes. But it's kind of like the 2015 Saints. They can win those offensive games, though, but their defense ultimately is going to cost them those games. The fact that the Raiders made the playoffs last year, was pretty surprising.
Can I ask you? I don't think they have the linebacking core, obviously, that the Niners have. There's not many people better than Fred Warner for sure. But we saw that them getting pressure allowed for their secondary to have a little bit of ease there. You don't think that with Max Crosby and Chandler Jones, they get enough pressure that it at least alleviates a little bit of pressure when it comes to the secondary?
Yeah, it'll definitely help it. And I think the Chandler Jones edition was huge.
For sure.
They will generate pressure to kind of give the secondary a bit of a break.
Because Max Crosby is one of the best pass rushers in the league.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Like, there's a scenario where, if all the stars align, then yes, the Raiders can get in. But right now, I have them at 9-8.
They're gonna be the best fourth place team of all time.
I'm gonna do mine's a little different. I'm gonna start from the top to bottom. So for me personally, I have the Chargers as the best team in this division from top to bottom. I like the offense of Justin Herbert, Michael Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. I like the defense. I like the addition of Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson. I'm a pretty big believer of Asante Samuel in year 2. I like him as a player. I think he's going to be really good this year, especially with playing with a lockdown like J.C. Jackson, Derwin James. That secondary is nasty. I think they're just probably the most complete team in the AFC in that division. I don't think we got to talk about it too much. For me, number 2 is the Chiefs. I think losing Tyreek Hill is big, but I expect a big year from Sky Moore. I expect Travis Kelce to carry that offense, and then you still have the best quarterback in the league sitting right there.
Jesus Christ.
What? It's just a fact. But to dig into more of the 3 and the 4 spot, because I think that's more of the juicy conversation for this division, I don't have the Broncos at 3. I actually have Oakland at 3.
Las Vegas.
Damn.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Pardon me. I have Las Vegas at 3, and it's not because Denver isn't a good team. All 4 of these teams are good.
It had to be Riv, because I'm about to go in.
I have 3 teams coming out the playoffs in this division, and that is the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders. I just like the weapons they got. I like the fact that Chandler Jones and Max Crosby is going to bring that pressure on the end. I like the offense with Devontae Adams, with Hunter Renfrow, and Derek Carr. Darren Waller is also there. I think their weapons are better than the Broncos.
Absolutely.
I think their weapons are better. I think in those shootouts that they can get into, they can win those games because Devontae Adams is that type of game changer. So is Darren Waller. The defense is going to struggle, I feel like, but I feel like that offense is going to be able to carry them at least to a playoff spot, probably bottom of the 7 to 6 seed, but I think they can get in. Denver, for me, is just a lot of questions. The linebacking core, Bradley Chubb, can he finally have a superstar breakout year? The secondary is amazing, but Jerry Jeudy, what is he going to show? It's Cortland Sutton. What is he going to show? There's just too many question marks.
Comparatively to the Raiders.
No, I get where
there's
you're
just
coming from,
way too many question marks for me to sit there and say this team is going to really come in here and just change everything in year 1.
Russell Wilson
is amazing, but in year 1 with this division, with Mahomes, with Carr, with Justin Herbert, it's going to be tough.
Brady and Stafford do it. Did that change your mind at all? Brady maybe outlier, but Stafford.
Brady outlier. Stafford's team was way more better. Complete
That's
than
fair.
Denver's.
Also, the biggest difference here,
and he had 2 of the best defensive players in the league.
That's the difference.
And you have a first-time head coach.
I don't even think that's a difference necessarily. I think the biggest difference is that Tom Brady went into a situation where a lot of those players, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they knew the system. They're under Bruce Arians. They know the system. Yep. Brady had learned it. You trust Brady to learn
He's
it.
the GOAT. Stafford
goes into L.A. Sean McVay's been running that system for years. Cooper Kupp understands it. Robert Woods, all of them, they already know what their assignment is. With the Broncos, Nathaniel Hackett is implementing an entire new offense. All those players are learning an entire new offense. The defense is most likely some kinks, some tweaks to the scheme. There's more of a learning curve for that team that there's going to be maybe room for a rough start, maybe, but that's what I think the biggest difference is between those teams.
It's like you look at the Bucs; they started 7-5, right? Before the bye week, they went 7-5. They ended up getting it together.
It took them a while.
Absolutely. Listen, I'm not saying that I think we're going to be perfect. No,
in a worse division too.
I still believe that we're going to be great regardless. Yet maybe it'll take our offense a little tweaking to inevitably get it to where I see it can get to. But I just don't think our schedule is difficult enough that we, like you said, 11 games is not crazy.
Third easiest schedule of pass defense.
That's not easy.
So, which is why I'm even more confident to put my stamp on Jerry Jeudy having a great season. Cortland Sutton, who's already showed me with well inferior quarterback that he can be an 1,106 touchdown kind of guy.
But as you're telling me they can show you that?
No, he's done it. No, Sutton did it.
Adams has done this.
Sutton's done it 1 year.
No, for sure.
Then he got hurt.
I know.
Didn't he tore his ACL right after
And he had
that?
the highest depth of target,
No, listen.
but it didn't
Sutton
correlate
is-
to yards.
but it's
But
like,
now he has
I got
Russell,
it.
who has arguably the best depot in the game. Arguably, of course, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
So you have the Broncos fourth. You have them first. You have them
I have them third.
third. I'm in between all of you guys. I'll start at the top with the
Wow.
Chargers.
Good list right here already.
Cute.
I'll start at
You're
the
in
top.
between all of us.
Hello.
Chiefs in third.
It's a bit of a caveat. I'll get into
It's
it.
a tiebreaker. That's what he's
Yes,
talking
I have the Chargers in first place, and I'm tired of people talking shit about the Chargers. Like they're just going to be the Chargers, the same old who kind of choke games away. This is a different team, right? This
feel
is
like
not
people
the
are
Philip
saying that?
Rivers. Yes, it's not.
People
the,
are saying that.
It's not the Philip Rivers led Chargers. This is
but
Justin
why?
Herbert.
Why are people saying
Because
that?
people are expecting the Chargers to just do what they've done really historically their whole franchise, which is choke games.
I'm a Broncos fan, and yes, I understand that that's true, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out
Yeah,
that
Denver
this.
had won.
It doesn't.
What does that have to do with anything, though?
Well, if you honestly respected the Chargers as much as you did, you would
I have them winning 12 games.
So you have Denver winning more than 12.
I do.
Oh.
And it's going to come down to that week 18.
Yes.
Were you here for you weren't here for when we did the predictions a couple weeks ago.
What happened?
I had it that they both were going to be
They're going to win the tiebreaker.
Yep.
But then, okay, that's cute.
But moving on, yeah, people are talking shit about the Chargers. That not expect them to make the playoffs, but always having questions about this franchise organization. With Justin Herbert, this is a different team than any team we've seen with Phillip Rivers. Justin Herbert, talent-wise, is on a different level than Phillip Rivers really ever was. But he can't do it alone. But that's okay because the Chargers have put a fantastic team around him. There's really no
It's their division to
glaring
lose.
hole on this team. The Chiefs are right there with them, which will get me into second and third place. I have the Broncos and Chiefs both at 11 and 6. It's a bit of a caveat. I really don't know which way it's going to go. I look at both teams. I look at the Chiefs. They've won the division every fucking year. It feels. Since Mahomes been there, they've won the division. They've gone to AFC championships. They've won a Super Bowl, and they lost in another one. Andy Reid and Mahomes is the best head coach quarterback duo in the NFL, and that takes you a long way in this league. I understand losing Tyreek Hill is an issue, right? But we've already seen in this preseason, they've run a lot more two running back formations, a little bit heavier set than they have in the past, where they got a lot more shotgun, a lot more three receiver heavy.
How good do you think the defense is going to be without Matthew?
The Chiefs,
Yes.
they take a step back, but I think with their
Like,
Like, do you
staff,
trust in their young secondary?
with their staff, they have a veteran
You do,
staff,
though.
not offensively,
You
but
do, though.
coaching, but defensively
No.
as well.
My trust is solely, and I mean solely, into the three-headed dragon, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Andy Reid. The defense is going to do
the
enough.
defense is going to be good enough
Yeah,
to keep Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in games.
They've won a division 4 years in a row.
My big quarrel with what you guys are saying is, yes, we just kind of have to blindly trust Kansas City because they have Mahomes, because they have Andy Reid. Yes, I get it. I get exactly
It's
where
not
you're coming
blindly, though.
It's not blind.
Blindly is nuts.
Why can't we just look at this roster and think that it's not as great as previous years?
They still have a really good offensive line. They still have
I don't
elite
doubt-
type.
Not
They have
really
elite-
good.
It's
No,
really
no,
great.
They have an
It's
elite
amazing.
offensive line.
The offensive
they
line's
still have
amazing. Their
one of
weapons
the
are
be-
mid.
They have still one of the best. If you just want to say tight end, wide receiver combined, Kelsey's probably top 10 in that
I
conversation.
don't disagree. But the wide
rest-
receiving
the
core
rest
is
is
mid.
concerning, yes.
The
The
defense
rest is
is
concerning.
not good.
But they've made adjustment. They still have Trish Jones. We know this. They signed Carlos Dunlap, who had 8.5 sacks last year. That was a very
I
late
wish I
signing
knew
that
his
no
name,
one
but they
talked
picked
about.
up George
Karlaftis.
Wow,
They
there it
picked.
is.
They
George
drafted him.
Karlaftis is a
He
beast.
looks
drafted
good,
Trent,
but in
they
Chris
Jones is
drafted
still
Trent
there.
McDuffie.
Yes, but
now
again,
they have
rookie. You're putting
Yes.
faith in rookies. Then I need
I
to see it.
understand.
But not. So
You're
you guys
putting
are
faith in a
projecting.
rookie head coach.
But I'm putting faith in Russell Wilson.
I'm putting faith in Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
But Drew, can we not put last year?
I just say that because the Broncos. I'm sorry for cutting you off,
do
and
your thing.
I'm sorry for cutting all you guys off. I just know that it's my division. That's
your
why I
division.
feel like I
Oh,
want
yeah,
to talk a
do your
little bit
thing,
more.
bro.
And I kind of just lost my train of thought with saying that also. But ultimately, what it comes down to for me is I look at the Broncos. We're just a little bit more complete. Yes, it's Mahomes. Yes, it's Andy Reid. And yes, it's Travis Kelce. But at the same time, you look at the rest of the roster, it's not as complete.
Wait, but
Hold on, wait.
On the defensive side of the ball, it's safer for me to say the Broncos will be better than the
I think
Kansas
the
City
Chiefs'
Chiefs.
defensive line is better than your defensive line.
But
I think
how?
it is.
Because of Chris Jones?
Because Chris Jones, yes, because of Chris Jones.
that's
it.
You don't have a player
Randy
like Chris
Gregory,
Jones.
Bradley Chubb, TBD. I
I
don't
would
disagree.
take Chris Jones
and
over
DJ
those two
Jones.
players.
Of course.
If right now,
better depth.
if right now,
But that's exactly my point.
If right now the Broncos were to say,
they have a
hey,
game changer.
we'll give you Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb for Chris Jones,
Hang up the phone.
the Chiefs hang up the phone.
Like you don't have it. Like the
I'm
thing-
not
you
saying
don't have
that
any
you're
game
wrong.
Frank
changers.
Clark's not bad either.
He's not bad, but
Frank
like I
Clark's a good
said,
player.
in
Derek
totality,
Notty's a good player.
in totality, I'm taking Randy Gregory, I'm taking DJ Jones, and I'm taking Bradley
So
Chubb.
you're taking them.
as opposed to just
So
Chris
you're
Jones.
taking
Who's
those
he's
Jones.
elite.
You have Karlaftis.
But it's not just Chris
We'll see
Jones.
about Karlaftis.
Wait, no,
We'll
hold on.
see about Chubb. We'll see about Gregory. You paid him
Joe.
75 mil to get what 6 sacks, 7 sacks.
You,
How many
I will
sacks
say
they
that.
have
if
last
you
year?
mention
not that
like
many.
Not a
6
lot.
players, okay, I understand your thing, your point. But you mentioned 3 players. Chris Jones, Frank Clark, Derek Nottie, Carlos Dunlap.
Oh, you're talking about, Carlos Dunlap, they signed him like a month ago, and he was just sitting in free agency.
The Chiefs, if you're putting the Chiefs' best 3 defensive linemen against the Broncos' best 3, the Chiefs win. The Chiefs have better linebackers. The secondary isn't there, I understand. That's where the Broncos have the edge.
They do.
But if you're even telling me, are you taking Juju, Kelsey, and Hardman, or whoever else?
MBS, Sky Moore.
Yeah, versus
what are you about to do
versus
here?
Sutton, Judy.
Throw the running backs in there also.
See how you added the tight end to make it.
Throw the running backs
better.
also.
You had to.
No, that's
I get it.
I'm not disagreeing.
Because their wide receiver room is better.
But throw the running backs. Throw the running backs too.
Clears.
No, your running back
Denver
clears. They just have better tight end. Tight end.
And this is where you look at the talent. Yes, the talent does matter. Just talking about the Chiefs. Last year, they had the fewest drives of any team in the NFL.
Very impressive.
The defense, they had the fewest drives because the defense wasn't very good.
First half, it was terrible.
It's not that
historically bad.
And people say, oh, well, they didn't allow many points. Well, this is the thing. The Chiefs' defense was like out of this world good on third down, so they got off the field and in red zone efficiency, so they stopped touchdowns. But the Chiefs had the fewest offensive drives in the league, and they scored the most points per drive, and they gained 41 yards per drive when they had 0 negative plays. So when they don't have a negative play like a holding penalty or negative yardage,
of course,
they ranked 11th out of 702 teams since 2000, and they were, even though the Broncos do have those better running backs last year with the Chiefs not having great running backs, they were the most effective run team in 2 wide receiver sets or less last season. Only the Colts and them had a positive EPA in those type of plays.
Because you have to account for Tyreek and you have to account for Kelsey.
Now
you're not accounting for the most explosive player in the NFL.
No doubt. But this is the thing. And this is where like the Tyreek point I think kind of gets moot to me. Because Tyreek Hill is an exceptional player. And teams, they play too high on Kansas City because Tyreek can beat you over the top.
Play, for sure.
The Chiefs have 2 players who can beat you over the top. They have McColl and they have MVS.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same as Tyreek, but MVS has been top 10 in terms of deep targets in the past couple of seasons.
See, but another thing
MVS is a really good deep threat. And you in an offense with Andy Reid, when you have Juju running the slot and Kelsey where he's lined up, they're working the middle of the field. You still have to respect speed. Even though they're not Tyreek Hill, you have to respect speed.
Yeah, but it's different because when you go game plan against, say, MVS last year compared to Tyreek Hill last year, we saw what MVS did as the number 2 for the Packers. Not much.
Here's the counterpoint to that, though. Because teams took Tyreek Hill away and they were playing too high, they were now playing Tyreek Hill. They were working him in the middle of the field. So you took Tyreek Hill away from what he's best at doing, which is going deep. They didn't do much of that. Now they have 2 guys in McColl and MVS who are working as decoys, and Mahomes can make teams pay, and that might even work to their advantage because that might even signal that now teams play up more on the Chiefs because they're not afraid of Tyreek Hill. Little do you know, MVS with his 4.3 speed is going to zoom right past you.
But why hasn't MVS done anything in Green Bay?
He has.
He hasn't had an exceptional year. He hasn't had
this is the thing. It's MVS, has he had an exceptional like wide receiver number 1 year or 2?
He's played his role.
Exactly. And in this offense, he's going to play his role, which
he's never had more than 700 yards.
He's going to play his role as a deep threat.
I know.
He's not asked in this offense to be the best receiver. He's asked to stretch teams vertically.
Yeah.
And that's what he and McColl offer. That's what their skill set offers.
So this is what I wanted to do, and I wanted to look it up just to make sure that I was right. A lot of Hill's production was not on deep passes.
No, yeah, they took it away last year. And historically.
And Hill saw a target, to quote this website, I want to show him respect, FTN Fantasy. Hill saw a target of 20-plus air yards on just 15.4 of his targets. Among the league's 81 qualifying wide receivers, that ranked 62nd. Like, yes, of course, Tyreek Hill and his deep threat ability is unquestioned, but that's not where he did most of his damage.
No, yes, but that's the thing. This what I'm saying, though, is that Tyreek Hill at his best is when he's hurting you deep. They played him.
That's not necessarily true in my opinion, though.
They played him in a different role this past season because they took away the deep ball when they play too high. Now you don't that. Now you have 2 players who, yes, are not Tyreek, but they still stretch defenses vertically. You still have to respect speed. And now Juju, who has been exceptional working in the inside of the field.
He's been really good.
He's at his best there.
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey does his thing. This offense is still going to be fine. In weeks 1 through 7, the Chiefs offense had 25% of non-kneeling drives and in a turnover. Only team that was worse was the Jets at 31% in the first 7 weeks. And that's when Zach Wilson was like turnover prone. And they still finished with the best record in the division. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the Chiefs started off as slow as you can start offensively with their defense being bad, and they still made it work. I think the Chiefs still make it work. I think their defense will not be good. I think they'll be a bottom 20 pass defense. But last year, you know, I think just given how many turnovers they had, how many mistakes they made early on, I don't think that happens. And I think Mahomes, the last thing you want is for a guy like Mahomes to have a chip on his shoulder, and that's what he has. Because everybody's saying, oh, without Tyreek, he won't be the same. Mahomes is going to limit those turnovers. He's going to make teams pay deep, and I guarantee you some teams will play a bit more aggressively because of the non-Tyreek Hill factor, and Mahomes will make teams pay. The NFL has already virtually stopped blitzing Patrick Mahomes because he just makes teams pay whenever they do. The Chiefs will be fine. They're 12-5. I have the Chargers first, and the only reason why is because the Chargers last year, top 5 offensive efficiency. Their defense was the worst run defense in football last year. But you add Sebastian Joseph-Day, Khalil Mack, secondary J.C. Jackson, Bryce Callahan. Asante Samuel Jr. is the outside boundary corner, but they have a guy in Michael Davis who was good, who now becomes your 4th corner. The Chargers, to me, and not only that, but you look at their schedule. They're facing 3 bottom offenses: Texans, Falcons, Jaguars. They're facing the Browns without Deshaun. They're facing the Seahawks. That's 5 wins.
The Broncos have a light schedule too.
Let's say the Chargers split with Denver, Chiefs, and the Raiders. That's 8 wins right there. I think they can beat Arizona. That's 9. They can beat the Dolphins. That's 10. They can beat the Niners. That's 11. They can beat the Titans. That's 12. And then just another game has to go their way, and they're a 13-win team. I think the Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, and Raiders are my top 4 in the West.
I have the same. I have the Chargers at 12-5, Broncos and Chiefs at 11-6, Raiders at 9-8. The Chiefs have role players at the weapons room, right? They have Juju over the middle, Kelsey over the middle, but being your number 1, you have MVS who could take it deep, Sky Moore kind of doing it all. So they don't have that superstar with Tyreek, but they have guys that do things specifically well. And with Mahomes and Reed, I have faith they'll be able to figure it out.
You want to give yours?
I have the Chargers at 1, the best team in the division. I got the Chiefs at 2. I got the Raiders at 3, and then I'm gonna take the Broncos at 4. Yo, but don't sleep, McCole Hardman breakout year.
I will sleep on my.
I'm telling you.
I have a Bobo-pedic type
when he
of
does
sleep
it,
going on.
and then I'm gonna slap you. I'm gonna wake you up. I'm gonna legit slap you. Like, yo, bro.
What do you think he puts up this year?
I'm gonna give him 8.
800?
Yeah,
that'd be a great year for him.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you thinking, I'm thinking.
What do you think the most yards put up in a year?
5 or 6.
I might take the under.
So
I'll take the under.
So while you guys look at that, I'll give my rankings. Number 1, I have the Broncos going 12-5. Number 2, I have the Chargers going 11-6.
693 last year.
Number 3, I have the Chiefs going 10-7. And in last place, the Oakland Raiders with a 9-8 record.
Telling you, this speed. Listen, he gonna have 800.
But we've heard this whole thing before. Like McCole Hardman's
chip on his shoulder. He gonna have 800.
Bro, McCole's
he needs a
touchdowns. He gonna have like 7 plus.
7?
I'm gonna take 8 over, and I'm gonna take 7 over. That's what I'm gonna do.
He had 6 his rookie year.
But
only had 26 catches.
Unfortunately, he's fell off since his rookie year. But he gonna bounce
24
back.
catches his rookie year. 26.
He had his moments where you like McCole. You see the.
Well, that was the year we thought Tyreek was gonna get suspended. They took him, I think, 2nd round. I want to say. But Tyreek stayed.
So like I said, you 800 over and over 7 touchdowns. I like McCole, man. McCole gonna be good.
We need
Sky
this
Moore
whiteboard.
year too.
We need the whiteboard.
We do.
For the takes?
Yes.
We do
We need
a
it before
whiteboard.
NFL season.
You know what? I'm going to Lakeshore, and I'm copping it for us.
I can just go to the Dollar Tree.
All right.
I'll get it. I'll do something.
Good looks.
MVS had 15 drops in his first 3 seasons. He had 0 last year.
Yeah,
he definitely took a good progression in his development.
Didn't
last
Deontay
season.
Johnson have problems with drops, and then he just stopped
Ah.
dropping the ball?
It was weird, because last year, the first 14 weeks, he had maybe 2 drops. The last few weeks, he ended up with 6 or 7. But the top wide receivers, Jamar Chase had 9 drops.
Tyreek had a bunch. Debo had a bunch.
Because the best receivers get the most targets. You get the most opportunity to
D-Hop
drop
don't
the balls.
drop shit.
You have outliers like Cooper Kupp, Tay.
Devontae don't drop shit either.
You have outliers.
Even Hunter Renfrow don't drop shit.
Over his 4-year career.
Yo, stop scratching your eye. I see it. You're scratching it. Just leave it. Just leave it. I get it.
Over his first 4 years, MVS has averaged 17.5 yards per catch, including 20.9 yards in 2020, which led the NFL.
Like you got beat up.
Yeah, I know. My eye is itching.
That right eye is nuts.
What I'm saying is that, I think football, I'm going to correlate this to basketball. MVS is not one of the big-time receivers.
He's Pat Connaughton.
He's a role player.
You play your role.
He's a role player.
And in this offense,
Pat Connaughton.
if you can get MVS at $5 million.
Well, they got him at way more.
But wouldn't you want this to be?
How much was it?
12, 11?
Okay.
Wouldn't you want that to be Sky Moore though?
No, Sky Moore, I think he's a slot. He works.
No, but he's definitely fast enough where he could be the deep target also.
MVS
He's
is
probably gonna do more.
Of course, no. MVS, I agree.
You paid MVS to be the deep ball guy.
What I'm saying is that
the Chiefs,
fair enough.
The Chiefs had to, with Mahomes having his big time contract, you can't pay Mahomes $50 million and Tyreek Hill $30 million. You have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And MVS, he's not Tyreek Hill.
Not close.
But he can stretch deep. He can keep defenses honest, which is all Andy Reid really needs.
It's like going from Steph Curry to Patty Mills.
What the fuck?
It's accurate.
Wow, that's a drop off.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you're
going
going from the best to
the way to complement or replace superstar talent is you just get depth, hella depth, and just work your way up, because you'll never be able to fully replace.
The offense, I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about.
They'll be top 10.
Yeah, me easily. I think top 10. I think top 5.
Oh, if you want to hold on to that, I get it.
No, it's cool. I already have
it.
Yeah. On to the AFC East. Moving from west to east.
Let's go.
Let's talk about the first team, the Buffalo Bills.
I need to go.
Yeah, that's how you're coming?
Yeah, I need to go.
You need to go? You lock in?
Let's just talk about the division for a second, right? Let's go from bottom to top. I went from top to bottom.
No. Just talk about the Bills.
I just wanted to
let him do his thing. Come on, Riv taking charge on football segments, kind of getting me going.
It's getting you horny.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
You guys remember Michael Jordan, right? You remember the story?
I've heard of him.
Got destroyed early in the playoffs, and then he finally had his break moment.
Yo, okay,
well, listen,
wow.
That's Josh Allen?
That is Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes was that for him. Constantly. Well, at first, he wasn't that good. We all admit when he first came in, he could throw far, but it was no accuracy. The Bills were still rebuilding. They've slowly rebuilt a great team. Fantastic. But what was in their way? Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. In their way. Seen them, kept losing. Couldn't break the hump. This is the year. Josh Allen is going to have his 1991 Michael Jordan year. He's going to go win the MVP, and then he's going to go to the Super Bowl. I don't know if he's going to win it, though. Winning.
Now, you got to be Jordan. You got to win.
I don't know, because
if you're Jordan, you got to win. You got to go all the way.
Riff, I just need you to know this
he's
right
gonna win
now.
It. You know what? I'm going to stand on it.
There it is.
Josh Allen's going to win the Super Bowl.
I need you to know, before you say anything else, bro, I'm sitting here with goosebumps.
You oozing?
This is such an amazing take. Not that I would make it, but I'm saying for this is just so well said, and I appreciate where you're going, because you're essentially saying that Josh Allen has a chance to become the greatest quarterback, or amongst the greatest quarterback, and surpass Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Current.
You put a lot on me just now.
You compared him to Jordan.
I'm saying I'm comparing the story.
He's comparing the story.
But you can't bring up Jordan's story.
You're saying he's becoming Jordan. Like you're saying that Josh Allen's about to become the best.
Whoa. Josh Allen will walk down at the end of his career as one of the best quarterbacks to ever play.
But is he going to be better than Mahomes?
I think could be better than Mahomes after this year. I think right now he's 2. I think we still have to pay the respect to Mahomes that has 1. I think he's 2 right now, but he's going to have that year. They brought in Von Miller. Now, White, I saw their schedule. White missing 4 games is going to be tough for them because that's their best corner. Mm-hmm. But I believe in Gabriel Davis. They still got Stephon Diggs. I really like Dawson Knox. They have Josh Allen. So with that offense and that defense is still going to be good. I like the defense they have. I think they're going to run away with the division. I think they've been running away with the division outside of Miami, which I like Miami, but I don't think they can compete with Buffalo just yet. Buffalo's going to run away with the division. And I like the Bills against the Chargers. I like the Bills against the Chiefs. And with the Chiefs not having Tyreek Hill, and they're still going to need some time fixing that, I like Buffalo Bills to come out the AFC. I really think they're going to be the best team in the league. I think they're going to be the best team in the AFC, and I think they're going to go and they're going to win the Super Bowl.
I think the Bills unquestionably will win the AFC East. I don't think that's a question. They will win it.
It was a little scary last season.
I do wonder how their offensive philosophy would change with going from Brian Dable to Ken Dorsey. Because Brian Dable, the Bills had the most heaviest pass attack last year, especially on early downs. On first down, they passed it almost all the time. And Sean McDermott, over the course of the season, was visibly frustrated with that. He wanted the Bills to be more balanced. He wanted them to run the ball more, which...
It's tough when you don't have a guy.
It makes sense, but when you look at the stats, it doesn't, because the Bills were uber successful on early down passing. So now that you have Ken Dorsey in there, are the Bills going to be more run heavy on early downs? Will they pass less on early downs? That's a question I have. Now that they have James Cook and they feel like they have an explosive runner, what's going to happen?
Seeing a lot of Devin Singletary being the locked-in RB1, though.
Brian Dable didn't have much to work with in terms of run blocking in Buffalo, and that's why they couldn't run the ball effectively, because they don't have bruisers up front. They signed Roger Saffold, which is he's a good run blocker, so he'll help them in that department. Could they run the ball more? That's possible. I think the Bills will win the division, though, easily. They have 4 games where they have a rest advantage. 5 of their 6 losses last year were by 1 score, including... they also got blown out by the Colts, embarrassingly. Jonathan Taylor had 4 touchdowns. They lost to the Jaguars.
The weird Patriots game.
Yeah, they had losses in there that I feel like, you know what, they make up for them this year. I think the run game is their biggest question mark. Even on light boxes, they were one of the worst in the league, which is saying something. Like, you have teams only sending 5-6 players.
Run.
And
Please
they
run.
are still not effective.
It's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. But you're right. I mean, Stephon Diggs is one of the top players at his position. Gabriel Davis is gonna have a breakout year. I mean, you're
such a you're a casual for that.
How am I
Hate
casual?
to say it. Hate to say it, man.
This brother has never had more than 600
So
yards in a
what,
season.
though? Chris Godwin wasn't amazing until he was too.
You know what, Drew? It's okay
Doesn't
because
move
you
me.
can't talk ball with everybody.
Some people
You guys
can
are so wrong. Davis is
some
hilarious.
people can see things other guys can't.
Yeah,
That's why he wears glasses.
Yeah,
That must be.
Apparently, it's not helping you.
Yeah, I
Clearly,
guess so.
You just can't see right
So
now.
you guys are all on the Gabe Davis train?
Oh yeah, we're.
That makes me feel so comfortable that I'm right, that all of you guys
So when you're
are on
wrong,
it.
we're just gonna look at you. We're not gonna say a word. We're
I'll
just
tell
gonna
you
Bills-
what, I've been in that position, so I see where you're coming from.
You know
The
what I'm saying?
Bills,
Yeah, like,
13
I'm a
and
little
4.
funny, sorry.
All right, man.
Will they go to the Super Bowl? It's a big question mark. Can they? Yes.
Yeah.
I would love for Josh Allen to finally get a Super Bowl championship, but ultimately, things have to go their way.
The Bills are the best team in the league, most complete team in the league. I have the Chargers. I won't get into seeding, actually. But I think, they don't run the ball early, first, second down, but they pass the ball to run. You know what I'm saying? Short passes, screens, shovel passes. So some of it is the offensive line. Some of it is just not having the talent at running back that a lot of other teams do. Devin Singletary has probably looked the best out of the bunch right now. James Cook is going to get his role, used to a second-round pick on him, probably pass catching. And then Zach Moss is going to get a few carries every game as well. I think bringing in Von Miller is obviously massive. Get another edge rusher that really has been missing for them, having that superstar edge rusher. And Kyer Elam has been fantastic this preseason as well. Trey White's going to miss the first 4 games. Him stepping into that cornerback 1 role as a rookie, you're asking a lot for him. But when Trey White does get back, that cornerback duo is going to be insane. They have already the best safety duo in the league, so they could have the best secondary while adding Von Miller, while having the best offense, while having the best quarterback. So this team, it's championship or bust. They have to go to Super Bowl this year. I have Josh Allen when I did my quarterback rankings. I had him at number 1. That was more projecting. If he wins the Super Bowl, I think he will be looked at as the best quarterback in the league. If he goes to the AFC Championship again and loses, I think people will still firmly say Mahomes is over him. And right now, as long as those 2 guys are in your top 2, I don't really have an argument either way. I don't really care about their schedule either. I have them going 14-3, a couple losses here and there because they're not going to go 17-0. But this is the best team in football to me with the best quarterback, so I'm all in.
You guys said a lot of the things that I'm thinking, so I'm just going to stop talking about the Bills completely. And I'm going to go talk about the Miami Dolphins.
Get into it.
100%. You look at the Miami.
So the Bills win the division, no doubt.
Yeah, it's a lock. But last season we thought it was a lock, and the Patriots made it kind of close.
And then they locked it up.
They did. They clutched up at the end, absolutely. They played really good ball towards the end of the season. However, is it crazy to think that Miami could possibly sneak in and win the division, given the fact that last year it was close? I don't think it's crazy. If you told me that you'd take the Bills and I even think twice, hey, I'll shake your hand. I get it. But we saw a situation last year that could be comparable to this one where Miami did get better. Their offensive line.
I don't think Josh Allen has lost to
Miami.
A team
Nope.
in the division since like 2019.
That's not true. He lost to the. He lost.
I
to
think
the
he lost like
Patriots.
one time. Like,
Dude, it doesn't matter to me. Okay, like can I just say what I want to say, bro? Please.
You know what? I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize.
Appreciate that.
Your thing.
This is the year that Miami gets one against Josh Allen. I think that it'll be a split. I'm not saying they'll take both. They'll take one.
Where? If I may ask, Miami, Buffalo.
No, it's got to be in
Miami.
Miami. It's got to be. They're not winning in Buffalo.
They
Tua
haven't
in
won,
those
so
type of
it's-
conditions, we got to see that. We got to see that.
Just admit to it.
In those conditions,
And when it's cold, when
He
it's,
hasn't beat him, so
in,
any
in bad
condition-
weather, I won't lie, Tua's not great, except for that Week 18 game against the Patriots where it did rain and he did play relatively well.
matter.
But just to go back into what I'm saying, you say it one more time.
I said it didn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't, unfortunately. But I was there and I was cheering him on. I was happy. The offensive line got better. Teron Armstead comes in. You add Connor Williams, who's going to be their starting center, which is interesting to me. What are you laughing at over there,
it's just
Joel?
funny that like all last year, you were probably waiting for that Week 18 game. Like, yeah, that's going to be for the
How
playoffs.
mean is this? How mean is
And then
this?
in the Week 17, he folds.
So mean-spirited
Now, that's
of you.
really fucking funny, bro. That's hilarious. as hell.
That is gross of you.
That's fucking
Anyways, you look at the defense. The defense has been firm. And last year, yes, people are going to say that they had a terrible schedule. I watched you over there at the game day saying some nonsense about the schedule.
Your
sure.
mans were saying some nonsense,
It may
too.
have been.
Yeah, he was
Bro said like 11, 12 wins.
Yeah,
Like,
see, that's cap. I have Miami winning 10 games as of right now. But I
I
think
said 13.
who
And he was like realistically 11.
you said the Jets could win 10 games.
No, I said 9.
You said 8 to 10.
Oh, it can. Yeah, maybe. No, I said realistically 7.
See, but it all.
Nuts.
But my whole analysis on Miami is based off the connection between Tyreek and Tua Tagovailoa. I do firmly believe that this is the year that Tua comes in and solidifies himself as a true franchise quarterback and elevates himself into that top 15, that 11 to 15 range. This year's success of the Miami Dolphins is solely on the shoulders of Tua Tagovailoa. And I firmly believe that once Waddle comes back, because right now he hasn't been practicing for a couple of weeks now, it's a little concerning. Once he fully comes back and you have Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, this offense gets dynamic. Now adding Mike McDaniel as your head coach, a very sophisticated play caller when it comes to the run. Thank you very much. And you have a guy like Chase Edmonds. You have a guy like Raheem Mostert. When he's on the field, he's one of the fastest backs in the league, if not the fastest back. This offense could be extremely dynamic. Thank you very much, Joel. And I believe that it firmly starts with Tua, and it will translate into the game.
So you said 11 to 15 to Tua. So I'm thinking the players in that range, those are like Kyler, Carr, Cousins, Dak.
Kyler I have as the top 10 right now.
I have my 10.
We're not
So
talking
after
Deshaun.
after this season, will Tua be bet? Well, let's start
ahead.
over.
Yeah, it's fine.
Tua's name is very hard. After this season, will Tua be better than Dak Prescott?
No.
Than Kirk Cousins?
Yes.
He could, but I don't think so. I think Minnesota's offense is going to be very
I
good
want
this year.
firm answers.
Okay, I'm going to say Kirk Cousins no.
Derek Carr.
No.
Damn it. Getting Devontae makes things tough.
Oh, wait, are you just asking him?
You can answer if you want.
Oh, no.
It's all no's for me, these guys.
No.
Kyler Murray.
Okay, no. Kyler Murray's the top 10 quarterback.
That's 10 to 14 for me.
Okay.
That was 10 to 14. 15 to me, or Matt Ryan.
I was going to say he could be better than Matt Ryan.
Jalen Hurts.
He could be better than Jalen
He can
Hurts.
be better.
That's
than
the
Jalen
range
Hurts.
where I could see him.
Which is why I said 11 to 15. He'll be closer
Back
to
end,
15.
yeah.
Actually, he can. I'm not gonna say he could be better than Kirk, but statistically, he
Statistically,
should.
I don't.
The only
statistically, I
reason
don't think
the
he's
only
gonna-
I
reason
don't
why I
think so
have
because he's
hesitancy
not ready yet. But he should, with the weapons he has, be statistically right there with
If
Kirk.
Tua has one great playoff game, he'll be over Kirk.
Yeah.
But that's what he needs to do.
and that's not it's
He has
not
to get in first.
because you look at the roster of the Miami Dolphins.
But
It
you
is-
said 11 to 15 though.
yeah, I did. And that would be he'd be
Okay,
in
so
11
wait.
to 15.
Josh Allen, Mahomes, Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Herbert, Deshaun Watson,
Nah,
Matthew
you
Stafford.
don't count Deshaun right now.
Okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So what, 8? Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray,
There you go. That's 10.
Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Dak Prescott.
So he's like 16, 18.
That's already
range.
13.
Mm-hmm.
So now the other guys we have is Matt Ryan,
I said he could be better.
Jameis
He
Winston,
could be better.
So he's in the 14,
Jalen
17
Hurts.
range.
You think he's
Correct.
better than Ryan Tannehill?
Yes.
Easily?
He could be better than Tannehill.
I
The
can
weapons
see
they
it.
have, the offense are going to run.
Easy.
You said
Easily.
you can see it? Yeah.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah.
You think he's better than Justin Fields?
Agenda.
I'm a Tua guy. I got to ride with
Take-
Tua.
take it.
I can't do that. But I
Is he
am
better than Trey Lance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what you're saying.
I'm high on Justin Fields. I'm mad you did that.
I don't disagree.
No. I say it because I like Fields. I do believe that he's gonna, not this year that the team's gonna be ready, but next year when they have $100 million in cap space, things could get very interesting.
I don't disagree with what you're saying.
It's gonna be a Madden team
but
right now.
it is the thing about the Tua thing is that okay, Matt Ryan. I love Matt Ryan. He is aging. So is there a scenario where Tua has a better statistical season? Yes. Jameis, he hasn't proven it yet, so I can see that. Jalen Hurts, you still have to see if his arm is accurate enough. And then the other guys, I just feel like Mac Jones is not in a good offensive situation. Tannehill isn't in one either. Trevor Lawrence isn't in a good offensive situation either. Like, a lot of the guys are not in good offensive situations, which is why I'd be like, okay, like, yeah, he could.
I'm only struggling with one name, and that's Kirk Cousins. And I say that very respectfully to Kirk Cousins, who was great statistically last season, and his defense did let him down, and they lost some game. They lost a good amount of games because of that defense.
Every season.
But my main reason why I struggle to put Tua over Kirk is because Kirk's now getting an offensive mind that now is going to make Justin Jefferson even better than he already is. Adam Thielen's coming back. He's going to be great. Dalvin Cook is one of the best running backs in the league. He's just surrounded by great talent, as is Tua for sure. But I just think that where Kirk has already been consistently good, I think that he'll continue to do so. So it's hard for me to say that Tua will firmly be better than him, but it's not out of the realm of possibility.
So I wanted to say this stat for the Bills because last year they blitzed 26% of the time, which was the 13th most in the NFL. Now with Von Miller, they don't have to manufacture pressure.
Absolutely.
So now when you drop more people into coverage and you have as good of a secondary they have, it's going to make their defense that much more better than it was last year. And last year, it was still good. To talk about the Dolphins, listen, I've been very harsh to the Dolphins all offseason.
You have been.
But these are our final AFC East
now you
predictions.
Can stop trolling.
Now, it's not even trolling. It's just,
the summer's over.
Being less.
Gotta lock in. That tweet was lit.
Being less optimistic. The draft has already, it's been a while since the draft happened. It's been a while since the offseason happened. So the Jets hype has dwindled down. Zach Wilson getting injured definitely attributes to that.
That was like a double entendre on you guys being the Jets, too.
But the Dolphins, last year, the Dolphins ranked 31st in receiver separation. Most of that is due to Devontae Parker, which is another reason why I'm not high on the Patriots this year. Tua ranked first in pass attempts thrown into tight windows. And that's not because he's like some pinpoint accurate passer.
No, that is what it is.
Where do you rank? Sorry, where do you rank?
First. He's an accurate passer, there's no doubt. But he passed into tight windows so much because Devontae Parker couldn't fucking separate. That's really why.
Dude, this is great to hear.
And it also, like, when you have receivers that don't separate, you also eliminate yak opportunities for them. So now you don't have those yards after the catch that benefit quarterbacks. Cedric Wilson last year, 20th in yards of separation. Tyreek Hill was ranked 14th.
Ow.
Now you have Tyreek Hill, Cedric
where Waddle
Wilson.
Was ranked?
Waddle was like in the 30s, but he was hurt by Devontae Parker. Like he brought down his ranking. Now that you have all three of these guys together, I think the Dolphins are going to rank in terms of receiver separation in the top 15 of the league, which is going to help the yak out a lot. They led the league in pressure rate, but blitzed the second most. We're talking on defense.
Yep.
They have a good pass rush, even though most of that is manufactured pressure. Let's see if their defense can hold up. I'm not too high on Byron Jones. I think he's more of a big-time name than he is a big-time player at this point.
I think he might.
Is it a bad take to say Miami,
not on the pub? He's out right now.
Miami's offensive weapons are slightly better than the Bills.
Yeah,
in totality, I don't think it's crazy.
He's
out at least the first 4 games. Yeah,
and then you also have Mike Gesicki. They have a good team. Listen,
Mike Gesicki's been in the doghouse apparently.
I think the Dolphins are
asking him to block.
I hope they run three wide receiver sets and just him as a blocker, and that's where he struggled.
They're asking him to block.
That's where he struggled.
McDaniel wants him to be a complete tight end,
and he can't block.
And he can't block. Really
the thing.
That's been a huge issue.
I think the Dolphins are going 10-7 this year. The reason why I don't have to make the playoffs is because they have the 13th hardest schedule this year. Last year it was the 6th easiest, and I've compared Tua to Jimmy G, and I'm gonna stay adamant on that comparison. Can he be a bit better? Yeah, but I think ultimately that's where that's the range he falls in. And Jimmy Garoppolo in this offense, yak per completion was 6.8, best in the NFL. You have Tyreek Hill, you have Cedric Wilson, you have Jalen Waddle. Tua is going to benefit tremendously from Yak, but that does not diminish him because Yak is also a quarterback stat because ultimately hitting your receiver in stride to now gain extra yardage after catch is quarterback's accuracy.
Absolutely.
So I think the Dolphins will be good, but last year they went 2-5 against playoff teams and 3-6 against teams with a winning record. They have a tougher schedule this year. I think they'll miss the playoffs, but they'll be an improved team.
One of the changes I made going into this when we did the original ones, I moved the Dolphins over the Jets. I have them at 9 wins right now.
The Jets are last for me.
The Jets are last? I still have the Jets in third place. I'm really on the Patriots. I think the roster's pretty bad. The Jets right now, Zach Wilson's injury, Mekhi Becton's injury, those are really the two things I look at, and you have to take a step back. We originally had him around 8-9 wins. I'm going 7-10 right now. I'm expecting Zach to just miss 1 week. I think he's back by week 2, and there's even a chance he plays in week 1, even though I think they can be cautious with him. When it comes to Dolphins, I've been saying this for a while. Tua's going to have a great year. There's no doubt in my mind Tua's probably going to have 4,000 yards. He's going to have 28-plus touchdowns. He's going to have a great completion percentage, and they're going to win a lot of games. I have them around 9 wins right now. Do you remember where you had them before this? I feel like 10 is a little high for you.
8-9.
Okay. So you have them at 9 wins right now. Their schedule isn't great. They start off not too bad, but then the middle of their schedule and then about the 2/3 part of their schedule, they play 4 opponents like in a row both times where it's playoff teams. It seems like they can win their division and the championship. So they have some tough stretches in there. But to get back to Tua for a second, I think he's going to have a great year, but I still think at the end of the year, the Dolphins are going to be looking at the quarterback position and trying to upgrade. We have the rumors with Lamar Jackson going on to Miami.
That's a no-brainer.
For sure.
If it's Lamar.
For sure. But that's why I think Tua's going to put up a great year, but still have those question marks around him. Can he be the franchise guy? Can he still be in non-limited quarterback where can he make these off-platform throws and can he make these throws to the opposite hash that we've seen on Twitter circulate? The throw to Tyreek Hill down the field, I don't really care. It was a fine throw. That's a throw you're not making too often. You're making that throw once or twice a game, even the biggest of armed quarterbacks. It's the throws off-platform that when there's pressure in your face or if you make it to the other side of the field, if you're on the right hash, you have to make it to the left sideline. Those are the throws that I worry with Tua because those are more throws you're going to have to make on a consistent basis. So that's where the issue stems for me for Tua. But I do have them in second place, around 9 wins. I don't think they make the playoffs, but similar to the Colts, just talking about how great the AFC is. They have a great roster, probably the best wide receiver duo in the league. So all the talent's there. I'm a Mike McDaniel fan as well. I'm a believer in him. But the other teams are just a lot better.
My thing with you is you actually surprised me. You said a lot of nice things about the Dolphins that I haven't heard out of your mouth since being on the show, so I'm really happy here. With you, my issue with you is, at Joel Dehls, give him a follow. There was a video that you quote tweeted and responded to, that this is the stuff that concerns you when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa.
Zero zip.
Yeah.
Why you decided to choose that clip to criticize when the timing on that throw, the placement of that throw
was perfect.
Was immaculate, was
perfect.
beyond me.
Perfect.
I felt like everything about that play that Tua could control was absolutely flawless.
It was perfect. But you also know that was supposed to be an out route. If you see the receiver, he runs
is,
an out route and then he comes back to the ball, which is great on the receiver, but that was an out route. Now, I don't know why they would run an out route on the left side of the field when you're on the right hash. I don't know. That probably wasn't the read, but that was an out route where the receiver had to make it into a comeback route.
But that's what I'm saying. The comeback route was But
it was supposed to be an out.
But you, as the quarterback, though, you can decide to change your ball placement based on what's going on.
But if you look at the receiver's route, he runs an out route. He says, "Oh shit, the ball's not going to get to me." Then makes a comeback route.
But the placement was flawless.
It was perfect. But you have to have that perfect ball placement every time.
That's what he does
He's not going to do it every time. Not on that type of throw where you're going from the right hash to the left sideline, 15, 20 yards down the field.
I just thought that
perfect every
choosing
time.
that
the corner
play
plays better. That's a pick six. If the corner's a little bit better, it's a pick six. That ball floated in the fucking air.
He threw that ball before the corner was. The corner wasn't even looking at the ball.
He was playing man.
But that
was zone. That could be an interception.
But Tua can understand, and he's great at reading defenses.
Those are the plays I have issues with because you're asking him to be perfect every time because he can't.
I just thought it was the wrong play to criticize.
The issue is there's no margin for error there. But if he does,
he is not meticulous.
You're not gonna. No quarterback's gonna be perfect on every throw. So the quarterbacks that have the zip, the quarterbacks that have the arm strength, they can be a little bit off. But Tua doesn't have as much room to fuck up because he doesn't have the same strength on his arm for that type of throw that other quarterbacks do. The 50 yards down the field, when you have a clean pocket, I know Tua can make that throw, and he could be accurate. He showed that last year. He showed it in the preseason.
For sure.
But like I said, those are just throws you're not making a ton in games.
Didn't mention this with the Dolphins, which is a concern. is that they have 2 good offensive linemen.
3.
And Connor, who?
Robert Hunt.
I think he's average.
No, he was their best offensive lineman. Now, you're not saying much, but I think he graded 83 from PFF.
83?
I think that may be way too high. I'm pretty sure he was really good, though.
Let me check it real
quick. All right.
That's not awfully high.
No, 83 is really high.
Overall or like
67.
specific pass or run?
No.
He graded 67.
No. All right, what is his other? Is there anything? Because 80 stuck out to me for some reason. I could be wrong, obviously.
Jason Peters is visiting Dallas.
Oh,
yeah, it's like 40. So he was 65. He graded out 65 in running blocking, 68 in pass blocking.
Okay, fair
He's
enough.
average. Connor Williams
Apologize.
was the weak lick on Dallas's offensive line. Even calling him good is a bit of a. It's being
an upgrade
generous.
for them.
It is.
His penalties were an outlier last season.
What I'm saying-
which is why the Dolphins were able to get him for so cheap.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that the Dolphins are legitimately a Teron Armstead injury away, which he does get hurt.
Come on, I hate when you do this though.
I mean, you can count. He has missed like 3 to 6 games a season.
I'm just saying, I hate when you do that.
They are Teron Armstead injury away from being a bottom offensive line again.
Yeah.
And even with Teron Armstead, they're a bottom 20 offensive line still. So that offensive line is still a big concern.
And it's also not predicting his blind side. It's predicting his, his non-blind side, however you call it.
And to talk about the last 2 teams in the AFC East, the Patriots, this was funny. In 2021, they splurged, getting Hunter Henry, Jonnu, Aguilar, Judon, Bourne. In 2021, their cap hit was $28 million. This year, it's going to skyrocket to $66.5 million. The Patriots are paying $66 million to Hunter Henry, who's good, not great. Jonnu Smith, who was horrible for them last year. Aguilar is not even in the receiver rotation for them. Matt Judon, respectable, a good player.
He's a dog.
And Kendrick Bourne, who is good, a little bit average.
He's dropping in the depth chart too.
$66 million for these players.
Jacoby's going to was locked in, I feel
no,
like.
for sure, but he's their wide receiver 1. Nelson Aguilar apparently has been doing well, but the injury to Tyquan Thornton actually has what elevated
it mind boggles me how the Patriots have the most expensive wide receiver and tight end corps by $20 million, and it is arguably the worst in the NFL.
And you think they finish over the Jets?
By 1 win.
What?
I think they're 7-10.
You have the Jets at 6 wins?
6-11.
Okay.
I think
so. That Zach, I mean, realistically, how long do you think Zach's out for? A week?
Week or 2. I
think 4 weeks is week 1. They said a 2 to 4 week time frame.
I can see the Jets in the past can be interchangeable. We can be 7-10. They can be 6-11.
I'm not giving the Jets last. I can't do that in my heart.
This is the thing.
You know what's crazy? I don't even have y'all last. You guys are more exciting. I like y'all team.
But to just talk about the Patriots a little bit further, not only is that abysmal that they have the most expensive receiving room and they're one of the worst. Mac Jones, only 13.6% of his passes last year traveled 10 yards or more. All of his pass attempts, only 15% of his passes were into tight coverage. Now you're bringing in a guy in Devontae Parker who doesn't separate. He's one of the worst separators in the NFL. Tua was first in tight window throws, due in large part to Devontae Parker. Now Mac Jones is going to go from 15% of his passes are into tight coverage into maybe 2 times more that amount. Josh McDaniels is not calling plays. This year is going to be the downfall of the Patriots. I mean, you replace Shaq Mason with Cole Strange. You lost J.C. Jackson, Dante Hightower, and Kyle Van Noy. People want to say Bill Belichick, he's going to figure out a way. Well, he hasn't figured out a way to draft well. Nope. He hasn't figured out a way to spend accordingly. He hasn't figured out a way to actually scout receivers. Since Brady has left, he's missed the playoffs with Cam, made the playoffs with Mac Jones, but now lost mostly all of the good players on that roster because he overpaid for average players. And now this year, there's a chance the Patriots finish at the bottom of the AFC East.
AFC.
And that's not a stretch to say. For the Jets, most of this relies on Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson is healthy, and even if he surprises me more than what I think he's going to do this year, we can be a 7 to 8 win team. That's the highly optimistic side of me. Mike LaFleur, he called the second highest rate of pre-snap motion plays last year. So you can tell he's a coach that is innovative and is going with the trends. This was a surprising stat to me. 24% of Wilson's dropbacks last year were in play action at BYU it was at 38%. At BYU, Zach Wilson was great in play action. In the NFL, he was absolutely horrible. He was one of the worst quarterbacks in play action situations in the entire NFL. But it's because Zach Wilson he took too much time to process things. When Zach Wilson was decisive, when throwing in less than 2.5 seconds over 5 yards down the field, so these aren't short passes, Zach Wilson was first in accuracy, 10th in success rate, 12th in yards per attempt, and 14th in EPA. Zach Wilson, his learning curve is being more decisive and trusting what he's seeing out there.
That also just sounds like a one-read concept, though. Under 2.5 seconds.
Well, top 10 quarterbacks in that stat are Tom Brady, Mahomes, Allen, Matt Ryan, Burrow, Rodgers, Dak, Derek Carr.
I'm sure you have the guys, but
Jimmy G and Baker.
I'd much rather have him first in some other stats than 2.5 seconds, 5+ yards.
I think this stat, what it shows me is that when he's decisive, he's very good. Yeah. So once he learns,
when your first read is open, he's good.
Well, 2.5 seconds is a lot. 2.5 seconds.
Yes, you're more than one read. That's fair.
That's why, to me, when he's decisive in what he's seeing, he can be very special. But he has to now make that leap this season and show that he can be that.
And the Patriots' offensive staff, you have Joe Judge and Matt Patricia there. So they're doing basically anything they can to fail, it feels like. So it's going to be left up to the running backs from Andre and Damian Harris, and then Mac Jones working off play action to some really average wide receivers. New England doesn't move me. They don't have any they don't have any superstar guys that can take the top off, can change the game in one play, and you're relying on a limited quarterback as well, and 2 running backs who I like a lot, but neither of them are top 10 guys. It's not like a Jonathan Taylor back there where you could just be like, this is your offense, this is the workload, go and get it, we'll run off you. The Patriots, I think, can be last in the division.
Ramondre Stevenson, number 2 after breaking a tackle. Yards after breaking a tackle. Show some respect. That being said, I'm in full agreement with you guys on the Patriots. The roster did get worse, and it's in spots where last season they excelled. Last season they had a solid offensive line. This year it's looking shaky, and now maybe this affects the run game to a degree. I don't think it does. But then you look at their wide receiver room. They refuse to address that. Let me apologize. They add Devontae Parker to this wide receiving core, and that's supposed to be their number one option.
For him or some shit?
Whatever. I mean, regardless of that, it means nothing to me. I look at this wide receiver room, and it genuinely could be the worst in the National Football League.
Yes. I think it definitely will be.
Then you go to the defensive side of the ball, where this is usually where they excel, and this is the one part of the New England Patriots that I have difficulty projecting, because ironically, how you mentioned that it's Bill Belichick, all this, you just went on that whole Bill Belichick spiel. I'm one of those guys that offensively, I can actually use my eyes and really see that they're going to have issues. Defensively, it's tough to do so when Bill Belichick is the defensive guru that he is. That's why I have issues thinking just off roster alone, 100%. It's not great. Secondaries, not great. Linebacking court, not great. I just can't. I have a hard time doubting Bill Belichick and his defense. That's the only part of that Bill Belichick circle that I do have trouble thinking that it's going to be bad just because it's Bill Belichick. Offensively, though, I do have my concerns.
Sorry, I was going to say, just to round it up, I have the Bills in first, 12-5, Dolphins second, 9-8, Jets in third, 7-10, Pats in fourth, 6-11.
I like that. And then for the Jets, really quick, the schedule is too difficult for me.
That's really why I have them at 6 wins.
I just can't look at that schedule, and where I kind of want to be lenient, it's just the schedule's too difficult that it's giving me a hard time to do so.
It's the second half. The second half of the year is not hard.
But that's why
the first half of the year but there's also winnable games.
Cleveland.
You're going into week 10. You gotta hope
that's what I'm saying, dude. I was looking at my computer's frozen right now.
I have it up here. Week 1 is Baltimore, but week 2 is at Cleveland without Deshaun. Week 3 is Cincy.
Loss.
Week 4 at Pitt.
I personally think that's a loss.
That's a winnable game.
At Pitt,
they can steal that.
Pitt's a winnable game.
I disagree, but
Baltimore, I don't see as winnable.
Of course.
At Pitt versus Miami, winnable game. At home.
Yes.
Okay.
Fair.
Thank you. Green Bay, L.
Loss.
Denver, L.
Loss.
New England, winnable game. So half of these games are winnable. Then week 9's Buffalo, that's L. But half of those games are winnable. If you could go in there, we're not expecting the Jets to be pushing for the playoffs. We're just hoping by week 14, can they be in the hunt? Week 15, can they be playing meaningful games if we win out, we might get to 9 wins and could sneak in some way because this shit happened and this player got injured, so this team sucks, right? So we just got to hope it is week 14, they're in the hunt. They're a game or two under 500.
There's no way. In the hunt for what? The playoffs?
In the wild card, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, King.
But
I don't see it.
When you're in the hunt, you could be 3 games out.
No.
That is true.
I just
for me, I just want to be on the graphic.
I struggle.
For me to round it up, the Bills.
As your boy, I struggle to see it.
The Bills 13-4, the Dolphins 10-7, the Patriots 7-10, and the Jets 6-11.
And to finish it off, the Bills running the division. I got Miami at 2. I got the Jets at 3, and I got New England at 4. But I do not have Miami making the playoffs. I'm so sorry.
Do you?
So number 1, I do have the Bills. Do I have them? Let me before I spoil. Yes, I do. I have the Bills going 14-3. In second place, I have Miami Dolphins finishing with a 10-7 record. Could be 11-6, depends on what goes on with that schedule. But I lean more so confidently 10-7. In third place, I do have the New England Patriots going 7-10. I want to lean more so 6 wins, but it's Bill Belichick. I'll give him that respect, that extra W. And in last place, unfortunately, I do have the New York Jets finishing with a 5-12 record.
On to the next division, the AFC North, which is the second best division in the AFC. Now, I went back and forth with this one. This was difficult. I went back and forth with the Bengals and the Ravens finishing first or second.
It was a very tough decision for me as well.
And I landed on the Bengals. I landed on the Bengals finishing 12-5.
Fits your narrative.
Burrow was one of the best first down passers in the NFL. The Bengals were bottom 10 in first down pass rate. So even though he was one of the best passers in first down, they didn't pass on first down often enough. And I think that was the coaching staff being conservative. You
got Joe Mixon.
It's not only that, but you know your quarterback is coming back from a knee injury. Your offensive line is absolutely terrible. You don't want your quarterback to take hits so early, so I understand that. Being more conservative off of a knee injury was the way to go. But I think this year they're going to be more pass heavy for sure on early downs. And I just feel like the Bengals got something to prove. They just have something to prove with the naysayers, the doubters.
Everyone's on their bot. I'm the naysayer. I'm the minority. I am the. Everyone is on the Bengals. Heavy.
I know somebody by the name of Mr. Dehls, man, that has been talking down on the Bengals every step of the way. Joe Burrow, lucky run. Look at everything that went their way. All this other stuff.
You said the same shit on the Patreon about the fucking Patriots Super Bowl, so like it's true. If you win the Super Bowl, you get lucky. If you lose,
but
Super Bowl,
I didn't discredit them.
I didn't discredit the
Bengals.
Bengals.
You discredit the Bengals with that.
Discredit is crazy.
You've discredited.
I said I gave them all the credit in the world against the Chiefs, and they played a good game against the Rams.
He did.
But the first 2 games, I was like, listen, they got lucky, and that's fine.
The Bengals last year were second in points per drive.
Good for them.
When Joe Burrow wasn't sacked. And now I know that was an anomaly because he was sacked a lot. But with an improved offensive line, getting Alex Kappa, Ted Karras, La'el Collins, he'll be sacked less. And I think they have the top weapons room in football. They have at least an average offensive line. They have one of the top quarterbacks in football. They have a defense that Lou Anamaru, his halftime defensive adjustments are legit elite and one of the best in the NFL. Yes, the Bengals have a tough schedule, but Joe Burrow is ready for the challenge. And Joe Burrow, everywhere he's went, has changed the culture and has been a winner. And he's not this no different. Cincinnati is running the table with this division.
What do you have them? A game up on the Ravens?
Yeah.
You said a lot of good stuff, and I agree with a lot of good stuff that you said. Cincinnati, they beefed up the offensive line a little bit.
They did.
Their wide receiving room is one of the best in the league. Joe Burrow, I feel like that offense has another step to take.
Where do you I'm just curious. I know where you guys rank Burrow, but where do you have him? If like off the top of your head,
7 or 8.
Okay.
That is a modest answer right there.
Like off the top of my head,
that's fine.
Like 7 or 8.
That's fine.
Where do you guys have him?
I have him 8. You have him like 5.
5 or 6, yeah.
Really?
You have him around 7, 8, right?
I think I have him right after Russ.
Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Joe Burrow.
Mahomes.
Justin Herbert 6.
What?
He's got Russ behind.
Wait, so Burrow ahead of Herbert?
And Russ.
And Russell Wilson.
That's nuts.
No, I would probably have
and Stafford?
Burrow after Russ.
Yeah, and Stafford.
Oh my
Burrow
God.
after Russ?
I might put Stafford over Russ.
I wouldn't
after this past season,
I wouldn't call you crazy, but Russ is getting back. Russ is back.
I don't see Herbert over Burrow, but I get it.
Golden Tate.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Golden Tate said that Stafford was the best quarterback he's ever played with. Golden Tate. And he played with Russ.
He played with a young Russ.
He did.
Super Bowl winning champion Russ.
It was like year 2.
Legion of Boom carried Russ.
He's a young Russ.
Legion of Boom.
Can you stop
No,
it?
it's a fact. Legion Boom carried. Come on, I understand. Yeah. Beefed up the offensive line.
Some nice men.
They're gonna up their level on the offensive and defense. I feel like has something to prove, like you said, and I feel like Jesse Bates didn't get his contract. He has something to prove. He's gonna have a chip on his shoulder. And on top of that, the defense is young. They got a lot to prove. So I have Cincinnati at 1. I think they're not gonna run away with the division, but I have them as the best. I have Baltimore at 2 because I think Lamar Jackson is still a great quarterback. I'm not a fan of the offense that they're gonna run, but they still have Mark Andrews. The offensive line is still okay. And then on top of the defense, I think the defense in Baltimore is going to be really elite this year. I like the secondary. I like the young guys that they drafted. I'm really high on Kyle Hamilton. He's a dog. And they get Marcus Peters back. And everybody knows I love Marcus Peters.
And they have Jalen Armour Davis.
Word. And word. But I think Baltimore's going to finish 2. Pittsburgh, for me, it's tough because they don't have a quarterback. I'm split between them and Cleveland.
Throw some respect.
Did you
on
just
Kenny
hear my
P?
throat? Like,
Yeah. You choked up with something big.
Yo, this guy's crazy. Am I a Kenny Pickett believer? I'm going to be honest, I haven't watched much of Kenny Pickett, so I can't even honestly answer that. Pittsburgh is a nice team, but they have a lot of holes. I like Cleveland. I really, if Deshaun was there, this would be a much.
Deshaun was there.
They would be
Good
fighting.
Lord.
They'd be fighting. But
Next year is going to be a bitch to try to predict this guy.
I would probably put Pitt at 3. Because their defense, T.J. Watt and them boys, I like them. Offensively, they still have Deontay Johnson, so I think they're still going to be good regardless of the quarterback. And then at 4, I got Cleveland just because Deshaun's going to miss so many games. So that's my lineup.
The wide receiver room in Pittsburgh is outstanding. So if Mitch comes
Outstanding?
yes.
You think so?
I do think so. Deontay Johnson is really good at football.
Claypool's all right.
Mapletron is very good also, I believe. And then also now you add in an NFL young boy. George Pickens is legit,
on
though.
rookies. I think it's
George. There's
Claypool is all right.
Claypool's legit all right.
I think that we view him as all right. Yes, because of one of his production.
He didn't score last year.
But because the quarterback play is not for
didn't
his style.
score.
I agree, because the quarterback play for his style of football was not suitable.
That same quarterback
couldn't get
got
one
him touchdowns the year before, though.
Correct, because he wasn't absolutely washed like he was this past season.
He couldn't get one. He didn't score. He didn't score.
Wait,
So who are we talking
you're telling me that
Claypool.
Chase Claypool had 0 touchdowns last year? No,
I'm like
he did not.
85%
He had
sure he had
touchdowns.
0 touchdowns.
He had more than 0, I think.
Bet on it
And
right
also,
now.
all right, how much? $20. Shake. Quick.
Look it up.
No, $20 right now. Shake on it.
He had 2 touchdowns.
All right, you owe me 20. You shake on it.
No,
You're done. You're done. You're done.
We didn't shake, bro. We didn't shake.
Oh my God.
That's damn near 0.
Nah, you know who had 0
Who?
of a category that was big? Bradley Chubb. He had 0 sacks last season.
I mean, Claypool's good. Is
No,
he,
for sure.
Is he
Pickens should-
Gabriel Davis?
Absolutely.
No.
Oh,
He's come on. He's like,
God.
Not Gabriel Davis.
Mapletron's rookie season was damn.
Dog.
Mapletron's rookie season was very impressive.
okay,
if
I'm sorry.
Kenny
Who's
P comes
Mapletron?
in, bro,
Claypool.
Chase Claypool.
Hey, you're fucking me up, bro.
Bro, I'm sorry. It's
I
a
just
cool
got back
nickname.
All right,
into
let's
it.
get on. You have who won the division?
So I do have the Baltimore Ravens winning the division. I think now that they're healthy, the defense is
Y'all are on the dark
revamped.
side.
Ball nowhere.
And it's only by a game, too. How you have
so do
the Bengals by a game. I have the Ravens by a
talk over
game.
everybody.
I just think that offensively, last season, when Lamar was healthy, we saw him take big strides with his passing. I think that now that he realizes Mark Andrews is a option of his that he can abuse and he can target overly and have success with it, leading to winning ball games, and you now have Rashad Bateman be the wide receiver 1, where, let's be real, the wide receiver 1 in this offense is Mark Andrews, and Rashad Bateman being your wide receiver 2 is fine.
Still a weak wide receiver room.
I don't know. You're 100% right. But when you have Lamar's rushing abilities and you have J.K. Dobbins whenever he does come back fully healthy, whether
There's a
that
scary
is
video
week
of him
1,
for
whether,
that.
yeah?
There was video of him doing a drill, and he was done. He was just limping all over the place.
Yeah, no, that's why Mike Davis right now is scheduled, and then they're probably
signed
bringing in,
Kenyon Drake.
it's official, they brought in Kenyon Drake because they are concerned about J.K. Dobbins. But I just believe in Lamar Jackson, his abilities to win ball games,
He's a
and this
dog.
defense being revamped.
Where do you have Lamar ranked in the league? Off the top of your head?
7.
7.
I have Lamar at 10.
He's right. 8 or 9.
I have him
Okay.
one spot ahead of Burrow.
He's behind Burrow for me. I get it.
That's fine. I have him one spot ahead. I also have the Ravens win the division. I have them going 12-5, 1 game above the Bengals, who I come in second place. The Ravens were 8-3 before Lamar got hurt. Lamar does one thing: he fucking wins. You could say whatever
does
you want.
what?
He wins.
Nah, that's exactly what he does.
He's the most winning quarterback under 25 in NFL history. In the playoffs, he hasn't done it yet. He has a playoff
when
win.
you say
He
shit
has
like
one
that,
playoff
I'm just
win in
going to
what?
assume.
3 losses.
He's choked in the playoffs.
See, but when I say that about Tua,
No, when you say
I'm a dumbass.
when you say he wins, I'm gonna assume
we're talking about division
right?
leads.
I get called dumbass.
Division winner.
For what?
It's
for saying
Baltimore.
that when Tua
Semantics.
wins, I try to use that for his benefit. But when he says that about Lamar, it's supposed to be sound.
Oh,
Well,
semantics.
the Bills versus the Bengals.
What are we insinuating here?
I'm saying that the Ravens have, I think, a more complete team, better coaching, better. I think. Offense,
No, I'm
probably,
just saying.
and
You're saying
defense this
Lamar
year.
wins games,
But he's
But he
choked
also
in
has
the
a
playoffs.
better. He also has a better team.
but that has nothing to do with my point. You're saying
Baltimore.
That's
Then
better team
Miami.
who?
At the end of
Oh,
the day,
yeah,
this
yeah.
doesn't matter because Tua's not on Lamar's level.
He's not.
He's
But
not.
moving on.
Not even close.
The Ravens.
not
Lamar
even
wins in the
close.
regular season the most of any quarterback who
Guys
has
are
played this
gremlins.
game.
Okay.
I got them winning. I think the offense and defense is good. I have the Bengals in second place. I think they'll make the
fight
playoffs.
all year.
They'll be in 11-5. They could maybe win a playoff game. We have to see who they're matched up again. We'll see that in the next couple episodes where we have the playoff bracket going up.
Maybe.
But they made some good moves. Talk about the offensive lines going from bad. It was the 22nd ranked at the end of the year. Maybe
It's
they'll be
good.
like
You
17.
hated saying that just now.
I think
you add Ted Karras, you add Lyle Collins. That's super firm.
it's nice
and
additions
I feel
there.
like they're missing.
And
I'm missing
I think
He was trying to argue a couple episodes ago that the Bengals' offensive line wasn't bad.
he was losing me.
he was.
That's when analytics need to go down the
Joe
drain,
Burrow was
bro.
pressured like.
No, you just
average.
used analytics that
So you
really.
you backed out the numbers on them.
Yeah, agenda. You know what I'm saying? I had an
Yeah,
agenda.
I get it.
went with
Agenda
it.
pushing. You backed
Because,
out the
you know,
numbers.
like, when you look
won,
at-
you statistically won.
When you
I
look
get
at the
it.
pressure
Alex
percentages,
Kappa.
it was
That's
average.
what I was forgetting.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
In terms
I-
of all
I
the other
get you. I get you,
quarterbacks.
broski. I get you.
So yeah, the Bengals second. I think the top 2 and bottom 2 are very clear in this division. I think Pittsburgh and Cleveland are a step behind. If Deshaun was playing, it's a different story.
Cleveland's not a step behind. They're just a QB out.
Yeah,
That's
but
what it
I
is.
look at the first 10, 11 weeks. Without Deshaun, I have them winning 2 games. I think week 3 against Pittsburgh, they could win, and week 4 at Atlanta,
Can
they
you
could
just
win.
run out 11?
Week 1 at Carolina, week 2 against the Jets, week 3 Pittsburgh, week 4 at Atlanta, and then you have the Chargers, New England, Baltimore, Cincy, bye week, Miami, Buffalo, Tampa
They
Bay.
can get like 3 of those, 3, 4 of those.
I have number 2, and they could win against the
Brissett
Jets or
is
some
the
shit.
QB,
Brissett,
right.
yes.
And they have one
Yeah,
receiver.
I mean,
one receiver. If they lose Amari Cooper, they have the worst wide receiver room in the league. And the Steelers, Kenny Pickett's looked pretty decent in the preseason.
Chubb gonna have to,
Chubb, Hunt, Dearness, those guys.
The Ravens, to me, a lot of the talk about the Ravens is, people oftentimes are concerned with Lamar's injury, right? If he's gonna start being injury prone, he's missed 4 games in his first 4 seasons. I don't think the injury thing is really a
And
big
they were all
deal.
from last year.
And I want to mention this when I talk about the Ravens because I think Greg Roman has gotten a lot of the blame when the offense doesn't work, and it's unwarranted and it's unfair. Are there times where he does have mishaps? Yes, like any single play caller in the NFL. But Greg Roman, ultimately, the Ravens are as run heavy as they are because they have Lamar Jackson. It's not like they are doing that to remove Lamar from his strengths. The offense is that way because that is who Lamar is. That's how you maximize Lamar Jackson. When Hollywood Brown said, I'm not a fan of the system, that's him saying, I'm not a fan of the Lamar system because it's Lamar Jackson's system. The Ravens went from, in 2019 and 2020, to being a heavy run-first team on early downs to this past season, they called 61% of pass plays on first down last season, which was more than Arizona did with Kyler Murray and the weapons they have and a lot of other pass-heavy teams. The Ravens passed a lot on early downs. Greg Roman changed that side of his offense up. The Ravens 8-3 when Lamar Jackson was healthy.
Number 1 seed.
Yes.
They had good weapons.
Let's also bring.
Hollywood.
Let's also.
But
That's what I lost.
Shotty B came back.
Yeah, I'm saying, but last year, this year, that's all I lost.
Let's also
though.
contextualize this, though. And I hate to be a nitpicker, but it's important. 4 wins were fourth quarter comebacks. One of them was a 60-yard, longest field goal in NFL history. Justin Tucker hit on the Lions. I know, but what are the odds? That
It's Justin Tucker.
I know,
Probably
but
hit it.
the longest field goal in NFL
And that
history.
only happened because Hollywood dropped 3 touchdowns.
Okay,
Probably
I understand.
should have been a blowout.
Okay, contextualize. Late fumble by KC, which put
Yes,
the
that
Ravens
blessed
in
them,
position to
for
win.
sure. That blessed them.
They had
After how many interceptions to start that game, too?
Started with the pick 6. I think he might end with 2 interceptions. First throw was a pick 6. Joey said move him to running back, and then he came back and won.
And the Ravens had a 16-point comeback against, I believe it was the Colts.
Yep. That was a great game.
Yeah, and an
And a
overtime
Browns
win.
The
Yeah.
Browns win was nuts, too.
And an overtime win against I'm trying to remember the name right now, against the Vikings. those are a lot of late. Those are a lot of comebacks they had last year. For Lamar Jackson, historically, he has not been a quarterback that has gotten many fourth quarter comebacks.
Shut everyone up.
I will say this though. I think that John Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in the NFL.
Sure.
And he has adjusted his philosophy to the Ravens were at one point, let's run the ball and let's punish teams that way, to now let's pass the ball, let's get the lead, and let's use the run to secure the lead, that's how you win the modern NFL. Last year, I'm low on the Ravens. They blitz at the 8th highest rate in the NFL, but had a below pass rush rate, which means that they blitzed a lot and they still couldn't get to the quarterback. They had where the agenda for the Ravens helps your case. They had the highest adjusted games lost due to injury.
Yeah, they were decimated with injuries.
Now you bring back the defense, which is probably going to be one of the top defenses in the league, a top secondary. The offensive line is good.
Correct. Ronnie Staley coming back.
I don't think losing Hollywood Brown's a big deal. I don't. With his target share last year, he was among one of the most inefficient wide receivers, along with Darnell Mooney, who played with Justin Fields, and Robbie Anderson, who played with Sam Darnold. Both last year weren't good quarterbacks. And in Lamar's 2019 MVP season, the wide receiver with the most yards had 500 yards. Oh, like Lamar
tight end. Yeah. Andrews had 1,000.
I know, but Lamar has shown that the offense can perform at a high level without a high-level wide receiver,
yes,
which that's the important part.
But Andrews and Hollywood had the highest combined target share for two weapons on any team. So it's very focused because those are the two best. But
Hollywood is inefficient with his targets.
But real quick before you go, Isaiah Likely has looked phenomenal this preseason. They need weapons. He's a big body. He is tight end, but they're going to be in a lot of two tight end sets. We know how they run this offense.
So
watch out for Isaiah Likely.
My question is specifically for you, young man. Do you think at any point Lamar, I know in the regular season he shows the ability that he doesn't need a high-level wide receiver, but do you think he's going to need one in the playoffs?
To make a serious Super Bowl run,
like to be a serious contender.
They do need to get another receiver. If they want to be real Super Bowl contenders, I do think they need another receiver. The only other way it happens, the defense would really have to be phenomenal, and Lamar would just have to be perfect. I mean, we saw good games and bad games in the playoffs for Lamar. His second loss, not his rookie year, second year, he had 500 total yards, had a few interceptions, though. Then he finally gets the first win against the Titans the year after.
Yeah, the first one was bad.
Loses to the Bills.
The numbers will fool you.
And he looked like shit against the Bills.
I'm actually surprised you're lower on the Browns. I have them going 9-8. I think they finished with the third best record in the division. Steelers go 7-10.
How many wins do they have before week 13? I'm curious.
Name them.
We just went through this. At Carolina.
They can win.
The Jets.
They can win.
Pittsburgh.
They can win.
Atlanta.
They can win.
Okay. Chargers.
They lose.
New England.
They can win.
Baltimore.
They lose.
Cincy.
They lose.
At Miami.
They lose.
Buffalo.
They lose.
Tampa Bay.
They lose.
So that's 4 potential wins.
Okay, now after that?
After that, the schedule is at Houston. That's Deshaun's first game. At Cincy.
They can win.
At Cincy?
It's going to be tough.
With Deshaun, yes. I have them losing, but they can win.
And this is all Deshaun, who hasn't played football in 2 years.
Okay.
At this point, right? Basically 2 years. Versus Baltimore, week 15. It's going to be a tough game.
I think they lose that game.
Week 16 versus New Orleans. Another tough game.
I have them losing that game.
They can win that game.
Then 17 at Washington.
They can win.
18 at Pitt.
Win.
They can win. I have them at 9-8. And this is the thing.
At Pitt's a tough game, though.
Maybe, you know what? I'll change it to 8-9.
I have them at 7-10.
I'll do that.
I had them 6 wins. Like, I am concerned.
This is the thing for the Browns. They have a top running back.
They do.
They have a top offensive line.
They have
a top defensive
backup running back.
They have a top secondary. Like, they have top position groups in football, which is why, like, the Browns are that team that is kind of different from Denver, where the Browns are legitimately a quarterback away. Where
they have one receiver though.
Yeah, I know.
Their
but
defense is legit.
If Deshaun had been healthy for the entire year, the Browns are a top 3 team in the AFC. There's no doubt. Jacoby Brissett, I think, can keep them afloat.
You would have them win the division if Deshaun's healthy. Top 3 team.
Yeah, I would.
So you have them at 3, or do you think they're better than the Bills and the Chargers?
They're better than the Bills. Chargers I struggle with. I think Jacoby Brissett can keep them afloat. But I will say this, I am concerned with Kevin Stefanski. I do think last year he took a huge drop-off, and things he did schematically just didn't make sense. Baker Mayfield struggled last year, and a lot of the blame was put on him, but it was kind of the way Kevin Stefanski used Baker, he had every right to be frustrated. Baker even voiced that him and Stefanski didn't see eye to eye. In 2021, Stefanski went away from a lot of Baker's strengths. Baker struggles in play action. They went more. He struggles in shotgun. They went more shotgun heavy this past season. Baker was great on play action on first down. They went away from that. He succeeded more under center. Stefanski went away from that. He played better with 2 tight end sets. Stefanski went away from that. And that doesn't make sense because the Browns have 2 receivers at their absolute best, was Odell and Jarvis. But they have a good tight end room in Njoku, Austin Hooper, Harrison Bryant. So for them to go away from 2 tight end sets and from heavy formations to now having 3 wide receivers out there in Schwartz, Peoples-Jones, and Jarvis Landry, it didn't make sense. And I think that schematically, Kevin Stefanski showed me that I don't know if I can really trust him as a coach. Like, he has to prove it again. And with Deshaun, it might be easier because, yes, he's a far superior quarterback. But Stefanski is scaring me. And with the Steelers, one of the worst offensive lines in the league. One of the worst secondaries in the league.
Absolutely.
Running back, it doesn't even matter if your offensive line is good.
They were the worst rush defense in the league last year.
Yeah. One of the worst quarterbacks in the league that you're going to be starting. They faced the 3rd lowest rate of 7-man boxes, and they were still unsuccessful when they ran.
Can I ask you, is there anything different from last year to this year?
They got Cam Hayward back. That's huge.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. Other than that,
and they made the playoffs.
Their offensive line is worse this year.
Last year was really bad, too.
And I say this,
Daniels,
and I say this.
Jesse Davis is on the line now, so I'm even more concerned.
And I say this, although the talent with Pittsburgh's offensive line might be slightly, maybe a tad bit better, they will be worse because you don't have a veteran behind center. Like, Ben Roethlisberger is somebody who he understands protections better than a Trubisky,
Absolutely.
than a Pickett.
And everything was out fast with him.
So now you bring in these quarterbacks, it's going to be glaring. The issue is going to be more glaring than it was last year. And last year, it was a big-time issue.
I think it's going to be hard. Sorry, Drew.
It's okay.
With Cleveland, I think this can be looked at as a lost year because you're not going to be with Deshaun the first 11, 12 weeks of the year. And then you're going to have Jacoby Brissett, who's probably going into the year the worst starting quarterback in the league, if not bottom 3. And then you get Deshaun back, who hasn't played in a year and a half, 2 years for the last 6 games.
Those games to get rust.
Exactly. So, it's going to be hard for Stefanski to really prove anything with a backup for 3 quarters of the season.
It'll be next year.
Then get a quarterback who hasn't played. Yeah. It's going to be hard to really judge what he is.
Stefanski's last season with the Browns could be next season, given how things go.
And next year, there's no excuse.
I think he's locked in this year. I see where you're coming from, but next year is really when he starts to be put under the microscope.
Yeah, really, the Browns for me are that team that, I mean, if they could tank, and it really wouldn't be surprising because they can get a top. Oh wait,
no, they can't.
They have their pick.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why
they don't have any picks till like 2026 probably.
Which is really why I feel like if you guys were to say that you see them winning 8 games, 9 games. Because they have to go out and try their absolute hardest every single week to not make
the players
them look
don't tank.
I think their defense can win them games. The Browns' defense is that good.
I agree with that too.
Where'd they give their picks to?
Texans.
Okay.
They got 3 first.
They sent all them bad boys. Smart move. Got to do what you got to do.
But I just do have my worries about Jacoby Brissett leading this offense.
I think the Browns' defense is that good though. Miles Garrett, Clowney,
who had a career year last season, and that also is due in part to Miles Garrett being on opposite side of him. But you can't put one-on-one coverage with Clowney clearly because he can get to the quarterback relatively easily.
What do you have the Steelers record?
Steelers record. Let me give a firm look before I spew some nonsense.
I'm actually a little bit scared for our team.
The Eagles?
Yeah.
Why?
Offensive line is always hurt.
Have them 7-10.
Defense is getting a little bit old on the line. A lot of age shit.
You guys are aging in some areas.
Our offensive line is hurt every year. But I'm still
not
fine.
last year.
But now
Brandon Brooks didn't play last year.
I have Jason Peters anymore. Don't worry about that. You have great.
You don't
tackles.
have to worry about.
You have
Brandon
Kelsey.
Brooks.
Lane gets hurt a lot. He's always in and out of shit.
He's old.
Kelsey's the only one that's like affirmative gonna play the whole game.
But
I'm still fine.
He's getting his number retired with y'all.
Kels?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
He's a GOAT.
Brandon Brooks not even on the roster no more.
Where'd he go?
No, he's not.
Retired?
I mean, the guard last year was starting was Isaac Seumalo, who's he's one of the best guards in the league.
Brooks didn't play last year. He got hurt before that. And I guess he just retired.
And Jordan Mailata is also one of the best tackles.
One of the best tackles.
So you guys have an unbelievable offensive line.
We usually always keep it elite.
Yeah, high key.
So for
if you
me,
have Kelsey there,
Landon Dickerson's cool too.
Oh, facts.
Yeah.
I have the Bengals at 12-5, the Ravens at 11-6, the Browns at 8-9, and the Steelers at 7-10.
I reverse order have the Ravens at 12-5. I have the Bengals at 11-6. I have the Steelers at 7-10, and I do have the Browns coming in last place with a 6-11 record.
I have the Bengals finishing first, the Ravens finishing second. I had Pitt at 3, and I have Cleveland finishing the last 2.
I have Baltimore in first, 12-5. Bengals in second, 11-6. Browns third. Well, Browns and Steelers tied, 7-10, third and fourth.
I'm fine with that.
On to the last division in the AFC, the AFC South. We know this is a gauntlet of a division.
No, it's not.
It's the furthest thing.
Well, I think
low-key's a one-team race.
Does anybody?
It's the 4th best division.
Does anybody have the Titans winning the division?
No.
Okay, so I'll talk about the Colts since I'm the Colts guy on
Go
here.
for it.
Shoot your shot.
The Colts.
How does he get full credit for them?
No, he gets full credit, bro.
Why?
You know how he rides for them.
But
you really know how he rides.
he's
He's going to ride till he fucking finish.
And he was worth it.
He's very active for it. Like,
Yo, I tell you what, I revisit that segment here and then. That's an all-time moment. But the fact that I don't get a little bit of credit is crazy.
You're on the Colts, but not like he's on the Colts.
No, he's like on it. Like you're like standing there waiting in line, but he's
what
riding.
he says.
He's the line leader. He is
Like,
fucking.
What I'm
he's the
saying
captain
is
of
essentially the
ship.
same thing. He has them as dark horse favorites to win. I also have them as
It's
dark
not-
horse.
he's
But it
not
ain't
a
the
dark
same.
horse favorite.
It might not be a dark horse.
No, they are dark horse.
Bro,
for
you
me.
think they
Hey,
go
you
to the
act
AFC
like
chip?
they the favorites.
That's what a
If you go on
dark
the
horse
AFC
team
chip,
means.
I don't know if you're a dark horse. You're one of the
That's what a
two
dark
best-
horse is.
and also
two final teams.
No, dark horse.
Like,
No.
in
Dark
August
horse is
saying
like
that-
nobody thinks they're gonna make it. Like that's
Yeah.
a dark horse.
And why
honestly.
also I'm a little bit more in than I was is that Shaq got off the pub, and now it's looking like he's on track to start week 1, which is huge.
That's huge.
Go ahead, Coach.
So I think the Colts are finishing 11-6 this year.
I like it.
I was thinking about maybe bumping them up to 12 or 13, but I think that's a bit too much.
Thank God.
Right.
Yeah.
I could see them at 12-5 though if everything does go right. Listen, the Colts. Frank Reich is at a different quarterback in his last 5 seasons, and he still has a 37-28 record, 2 playoff trips, and just 1 losing season. I was with Jacoby Brissett, who's not a starter. The reason why I'm not saying 12 wins is because Frank Reich is 0-4 in season openers. He's 5-9 in September, so the Colts don't get off to the fastest start. That's probably in large part to having a different quarterback every single year. But the teams that they lose to in the openers aren't groundbreaking teams. They lose to teams like the Jags in week 1.
And week like 17 too.
Week 1 this upcoming year, they're facing the Texans. Now, a lot of us have that as a chalk it up win, but they struggle week 1. The second game is versus the Jaguars at Jacksonville. The Colts have historically struggled at Jacksonville. So those should be winnable games, but could I see them dropping one of those?
Sorry to cut you off. I have a question. But don't you think Matt Ryan should change that?
He could change it, yes.
You should win the first 2 weeks.
You should, yeah. On paper,
Matt Ryan
yes.
is a significant
Divisional opponents
upgrade
on the road,
from
but
the last quarterbacks he's had, right?
Yeah, and this is where he's going to upgrade. The Colts last year were 2-5 in one-score games. With Matt Ryan, they'll have a positive record in that department.
Wait, what was it 2-5 and what?
One-score games. They were 0-4 in games decided by a field goal. Okay. I think Matt Ryan is clutch, and he changes those records. The Colts win 1 game. They're in the playoffs last year with Carson Wentz. Now you're bringing Matt Ryan,
Jaguars,
and they have the 3rd easiest schedule of opponents. This isn't a tough schedule. And Matt Ryan, this just the contrast, the stark contrast between him and Carson Wentz. Accuracy on non-play action throws. Matt Ryan ranked 7th. Carson Wentz ranked 32nd. Passes thrown 10-plus yards down the field. And you talk about Matt Ryan's diminishing arm. Ryan ranked 3rd in the NFL in passes 10 yards down the field.
Dude, you could have used any of the numbers.
10-plus yards down the field. Wentz ranked
through to the first down marker.
Carson Wentz ranked 31st. The Colts in 2020 were first in first-half explosive play rates with Phillip Rivers, who was an aging quarterback. In 2021, it was 28th because Carson Wentz is inconsistent. So you can count on the Colts being a more explosive team. And you might say, well, how are they going to be explosive when they don't have the weapons? Well, in 2020, who was their best weapon? Michael Pittman, a rookie one, and T.Y. Hilton, who was aging. So they didn't have weapons then, but they were still an explosive play offense. I think Frank Reich is one of the better play callers in the NFL.
That was without JT, too.
Yeah, without him fully emerging. Matt Ryan last year, God bless him, he was pressured on 40% of his dropbacks, which is 6 in the NFL, And he's still graded out as one of the better quarterbacks, but when he was kept clean in the pocket, he was the 12th best graded quarterback.
Solid.
So this guy, when he's kept clean, can make defenses pay. He throws dimes. And Matt Ryan in the red zone,
man.
which, I know a couple episodes ago, you love to joke around about the Kyle Pitts thing.
And Julio.
I told you guys, Matt Ryan in the red zone, last year he threw 18 touchdowns, 0 picks in the red zone. Ninth in yards inside the 20, 15th inside the 10. Not that, it's average, but passing touchdown leaders in the red zone since 2018, Matt Ryan is 4th at 62 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. The only quarterbacks ahead of him are Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes, and Russell Wilson. So despite Matt Ryan being this washed up old hag that people love to spin the narrative of, he's actually somebody who can still play at a high level, and he is further right now in terms of arm strength and accuracy than Phillip Rivers was in 2020. And Phillip Rivers in 2020 with the Colts got them to the playoffs.
He was damn good.
And they were a touchdown away from tying the Bills, and they could have beat the Bills in that game. It was a pretty close game. Now, the Colts, are they going to be a favorite in the AFC South? In the AFC in total? They won't be a favorite. But can they give every single team a run for their money? Yes. Can they capitalize on the weaknesses of teams? Yes. If they face Kansas City in the first round, would I favor Mahomes? Yes. But can I see a scenario where their defense lays an egg, Jonathan Taylor runs all over them, and the Colts win? Yes. Those are possibilities. Just because I favor a team doesn't mean I automatically think the Colts have no chance. The Colts have chances.
That's been my argument all offseason, though.
They have legit chances.
That's been my argument all offseason. You know that.
Yeah, they have legit chances.
But do you know that has been my argument?
What's been your argument?
That the Colts have a good team. I have them win the division. But there's just a lot of other teams in the AFC that are better. That's been my argument this whole offseason. That's been your argument, but you have also been kind of adamant in saying they don't have a chance.
I'm on that boat.
Yeah, they got to play the Chiefs, Chargers, Bills, Ravens.
That's the thing with me.
Broncos.
I think the Colts have a chance. You think they're like the Steelers of the first round wild card.
Okay, that's disrespectful. And they had to play the Chiefs. If the Colts have to play the Chiefs, they're not winning that game.
They can beat the Chiefs though.
I don't think so, bro.
They're the Raiders of last season.
That's valid.
Not even close.
And while Matt Ryan
That's
has
so
that,
perfectly said.
The Raiders had one of the worst defenses in the league.
No, they worst defenses.
Yes, they
it
did.
was really bad. And
I
Matt
don't
Ryan,
remember it playing badly though.
Bottom 20.
Matt Ryan's touchdown interception ratio might look nice, but from 2019 to 2021, they've been 24th or worse in red zone efficiency. So it looks nice. No, the Atlanta. So it's looked nice on paper, the 18-0, but he's just got a lot of chances in there. He's converted those 18 times, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but 24th or worse 3 years in a row. That's the issue with Matt Ryan. The number looks good. I'll give you that.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
My question is same thing with Denver in a sense where you look at a team, they have an easy schedule, so they win a lot of games. So it looks like they're a really great team. In the playoffs, Joel said if they get a key matchup, they could possibly win that matchup. So for you, Dehls, because you are more of you're under the belief that they don't have a chance to come out in the first round. Hypothetically speaking, they're going to get a top 4 seed because they're going to win a division, right?
Facts.
So if they play a team like the Ravens or the Raiders, you don't think Matt Ryan could just clutch up and get one?
They could beat the Raiders, but they're not playing the Raiders, I don't think.
I'm going to be honest. The only
only
team that I think I would overwhelmingly favor over the Colts in a playoff matchup would be the Chargers and would be the Bills.
And the Broncos.
Those are the only teams.
And the Ravens.
The Chiefs, I wouldn't overwhelmingly favor them. I wouldn't.
Every team that's going to make the playoffs in my mind. So we have the Bills.
Don't spoil it.
My bad. We already kind of went through it all.
Yeah, he can.
I would say the Bills, Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, Bengals, and Ravens. And obviously the Colts being the 7th one. But those 6 teams, I'm taking all of them over the Colts and pretty comfortably.
They're the worst team in the playoffs.
Yes. They're the 4th seed. They get home field advantage.
But
so
it doesn't
we
matter.
won't spend too much time on this, but when talking about the Ravens, let's say they do face the Ravens.
Okay.
The Ravens don't have any receivers, right? You have Mark Andrews, but who's going to cover him? Darius Leonard, who's an all-pro linebacker.
There's no linebackers that can cover Mark Andrews.
Andrews is going to get his.
But Darius Leonard is one of the best pass coverage linebackers in the league.
But
Shaq is going to He's going to shadow him the whole game.
You don't have to worry about.
Gilmore out there.
You don't have to.
Andrews 6'6".
Yeah.
Andrews is
But
there's no linebacker.
Stephon Gilmore has covered tight ends before.
And Andrews is going to get his, bro. It's going to happen.
He's not, but He's not gonna.
And guys get beat.
don't think they could
Jalen Ramsey get beat
they
in
could
the
double
Super
him,
Bowl
though?
multiple times.
They could double him.
Stay with me. Stay
strong.
with me
He's the
on
only
this.
guy out there.
The Colts face the Ravens. The Ravens have no outside threats.
Bateman.
The Colts have a great run defense. They can neutralize the Ravens' run attack. They have great coverage linebackers with speed.
Mm-hmm.
They have a great corner in Stephon Gilmore who's looking back in form based on all the reports we're hearing out of training camp. That defense can shut down the Ravens, bro.
It's not going to shut down the Ravens. It could give them some hassles.
So
The Ravens aren't this offensive firepower that can't get shut down.
shootout because the Ravens have an elite defense.
Now listen.
We've seen the Ravens be fantastic offensively with Lamar running this offense.
In 2019, when the Ravens made the playoffs,
Yes.
Lamar's MVP year, they lost to the Titans, right?
Yeah, they got smoked.
You picked the Ravens, right?
In 20, yeah, probably.
I
It was
picked the
Lamar
Titans.
fans.
So what's the difference between?
You know.
You were right 3 years ago.
No, I'm just saying.
Like you were right 3 years
I'm just
ago.
saying. I can see things that other people don't think is consensus.
Okay, so
you think the Colts don't have a chance against the Ravens? I think that's ludicrous. I think they do.
you know how I feel about the Ravens.
They have a
it's
chance,
gonna be
bro.
it's gonna be a close game.
Bro, they
It
definitely
would
have a
be-
chance.
I know I'm being disrespectful. I'm gonna pick the Ravens.
That's why I'm
I
saying
think they're a better team.
The only overwhelming favorite I look at the Bills,
No,
the Chargers.
Realistically,
That's
the
it.
Broncos.
overwhelming to me are the AFC or the AFC West teams.
But what's a
and
chance? What's a
the
chance
Bills.
you got? What's the percentage on a chance?
They'll
Like,
lose by a field goal or a touchdown.
That's what I'm saying. We're going into that game. Everyone's expecting a one-possession game. If they play the AFC West teams, I feel very comfortable about. The Bills, I feel very comfortable. And the Ravens and Bengals, like, it's going to be a close game. People are expecting it to. But I'm going into that game feeling pretty comfortable about the Ravens and the Bengals against
The
the Colts.
reason why I don't want to spend too much time on this is because, for one, it's projection, right? And it's you basically projecting that the Colts aren't going to be as good as I think they're going to be. Come when it's week 9, week 11, 12, around then, that's when your eyes are going to be more open.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, yo, you know, the Colts are really playing some fucking good football.
So you have them coming up the first round?
I think they are. I think they do.
Okay.
We'll get to the bracket later.
They have an easy schedule.
The schedule is a cupcake walk.
So it should be no excuses.
It is a cupcake
See, it's
walk.
a cupcake walk, and we both have them 11-6. Do you have them 11-6?
10-7.
And
I don't
you didn't
go
do the
records.
records.
I
That's
just-
fine.
It's
No,
because the
they're winning
teams
the
that
division.
are difficult are very difficult.
They are. I don't disagree. Like the losses I have, I do have them splitting with Jacksonville. I have them losing to KC, Denver, Tennessee, because that they're in division, they're splitting. Have them losing to Philadelphia, and I have them losing
There's
to the
three
Chargers.
really tough opponents.
No, it's the Chargers.
It's the AFC West teams.
Yeah, it's true.
And they play us.
Facts.
And that's
Please,
it.
Yeah,
please
and I would-
put
I
some
would put you
respect.
guys over the
Please
Raiders.
put some respect. on
I
that.
definitely
You
did.
know you did.
Yeah.
You did. He
My bad.
did it.
I didn't. I missed Philly here.
Yeah.
I missed Philly.
You're good, bro.
Week 11.
So like, and to briefly
Is that
talk
in
about
Philly?
the other, I know we just spoke about the
But
Colts.
But that's the thing with the Colts is that, like, yes, we have them at 11-6, and some people 10-7 or 9-8, but I think 10 wins is their floor. It is their floor.
With this
10-7.
schedule, I'm 100% in agreement.
It should be a cupcake walk for them. They should walk into the playoffs pretty easily. I mean, I have no
And
issue
if-
about the Colts in the regular season. I think
And
it'd
if
be really
they're
good.
this legit team, that I do believe that they're a very good team. But I'll give you your credit. You think that they're even better than that. One of these tough games, they need to win.
They do,
Either
yeah.
they need to beat KC, they need to beat the Chargers. They need to, if the Colts are legit, they need to beat the Eagles.
And listen, that's possible.
That's fair.
Last year, the Bills were contenders. They blew the fuck out of the Bills.
Absolutely.
They beat them 41-17.
I mean, the Bills lost to the Jags. Shit happens in the NFL. What
yeah,
teams?
yeah, but that Colts performance was like
abysmal. No, it was abysmal.
dominant.
I know. Yeah, it was
It
abysmal.
was pure dominance.
What teams in the AFC do you think the Colts just? You're going into that week like, yeah, no way.
It's chopped.
Bills,
The Bills,
Chargers.
Chargers loosely. It depends on how they come out
Like
defensively.
chops is in. There's no way they win the game or blowout.
No, I mean it's a playoff game. It's gonna be. But when you're going into week 1 of the playoffs,
So I would
what
say-
team do you think be like? I feel good about this.
Chiefs.
Like there's gonna be games in the playoffs where it's half and half.
I'm
Another
gonna be
game's like,
honest
I
with
feel
you.
good
So
about
There's
this.
really,
Bills,
right now,
Chargers,
there's really
Chiefs.
only one team.
Bills, Chargers, Chiefs.
Yeah, definitely. Those are the three.
That's a
walking in.
guaranteed
Yeah.
lock.
Bills?
I think the Bills are the only team that I can firmly
Okay.
say
I
that
s-
I'm confident that they can beat.
Not a lock, but the teams where I'm fully like I can go to sleep and know I'll wake up with them winning.
Yeah.
Is those three teams against
like
the
for
Colts.
like
The
for example,
Bills, Chargers, Chiefs.
yeah.
like for example, the Chargers. We know that.
and the Bengals. I'm fucking.
we know the
tweaking
Chargers
Bengals.
buffed up the run defense, but if they face the Colts, it's really going to be put to the test against a team like
That's
that.
facts.
I agree, but you got
Like,
Justin Herbert, bro.
Bengals,
Like,
Bengals to a degree too.
Like
We're gonna
if
have
the
to.
Colts,
like-
if the Colts were a team that were just good but didn't excel in an area, I would understand you. But they are legitimately the best rushing football
they have
team
the
in the
best running
NFL.
back in football.
And now you have a quarterback who is arguably at his best in play action, and when he's been surrounded with a runner who can consistently run for 100 yards, has never lost.
So are you guys worried about the second receiver, Alec Pierce, being the guy?
You don't have to
day
talk
one?
to me about it.
I've
been very adamant on the wide receiver core being a huge issue.
We just talked about how you need a top receiver. I do think Pittman's going to elevate.
Pittman's going to be insanely good this year.
If they play the Chiefs, I don't think that second receiver is really going to matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they play Baltimore, that's going to be difficult. But
you have corners that can match up against Pittman.
Like you said, it really is about matchups. I would. If they play the Raiders, I'm comfortable with Pittman in that one-on-one matchup. Like, it really depends on matchups.
I would favor the other teams, the top teams in the AFC over the Colts. Yes, I would, but that doesn't mean that they necessarily can't pick them.
Of course, yeah, because we're sitting here talking like, yes, we feel comfortable, but it's a 1 week playoff. Anything could happen in that one game.
It's like come playoff time, and I need to make a prediction. And let's say it's the Chargers versus the Colts. I'm not going to hesitate. I'm going to take the Chargers. But there's no doubt the Colts have opportunity to win.
But a lot of that, and this is why I didn't want to get too in depth with it.
Absolutely, because we're going to do this.
A lot of that is when we're sitting here, week 18, after week 18 is finished, and we say, oh, the Colts are facing this team. Let's say it is, the Ravens. Well, have you seen the Colts the last 5 games? They have been legitimately dominant. Like,
the Raiders
it's all about runs.
The Raiders went hot, though.
The Raiders are a bottom 20 defense.
I'm not disagreeing.
Like, the Raiders.
We're just also expecting the Colts to be great in top 10 defense again, top 10 offense again. That's what you're projecting.
I think with things like that, for example, the Colts to me are not the Raiders. They're more so the Niners in terms of the dark horseness of them. Like, the Niners in the playoffs, you came into it, they faced Dallas. Well, Dallas was probably a better team all year, but you knew San Fran as of recently has been better at picking San Fran. The Colts to me have that type of aspect to them. They're more of a legit team because they're a complete team.
Shanahan the Niners just always feel comfortable because of Shanahan. Like, that's the only reason why the Niners, I feel like, have that dark horse tendency. One, because they had a quarterback that everyone saw was inferior to whoever their opponent is.
Yeah.
They already had one of the best rushing attacks in the league, similar to the Colts, but they also have the head coach there who, Frank Reich's done it in the past, but since he's been with the Colts, he hasn't done what Shanahan has done with the Niners, and that's why it's elevated for the Niners.
And no doubt that happens, but, for me, a big thing about that game was the defensive line I thought was going to wreck the Cowboys' game plan, and that's what happened. And the Colts have a defensive line capable of doing things like that.
We also say it with the Bengals and Titans. The Bengals got outmatched by the Titans' defensive line. Bengals still won. They had the better weapons, better quarterback.
But that was historically an anomaly.
It is, but it's an anomaly up to this point. But now the way offense is going and how quarterbacks and wide receivers really run the league.
Agreed.
Obviously, the trenches are important, right? I'm not trying to be just this new head modern guy, but the trenches are important to protect your quarterback. But we've seen it now in the NFL. You have the number 1 receiver and you have an elite quarterback. You could win and, overcome mismatches you have in other areas.
But does Matt Ryan throw 3 picks like Tannehill?
Probably.
No, the answer is no.
Probably not.
The answer is no.
Probably not, but he could have a bad game. Like, if you're going to say they can beat, they could beat whoever the fuck, like, they could beat the Chargers. Well, yeah, Matt Ryan could also stink and have 2 interceptions, 150 yards.
Tannehill has never been on Matt Ryan's level.
Never.
It's too much.
Not elite Matt Ryan.
No. It's too much. Even
the last couple of years, they've probably been. It's been close.
I guess. But
Tannehill's been really good. Outside last year.
To talk about the Titans, because we're on Tannehill. For me, they're 9-8. I think although a lot of things in the offseason went against them, this is a team that coming into last season people thought was going to regress, and they finished with the first seed in the AFC.
Absolutely.
There's something about Mike Vrabel that I think he just brings the best out of his players.
He's amazing.
He just wins.
He's amazing.
I will say this though. Although Vrabel has won at least 9 games every season he's been a head coach, Tannehill relies heavily on play action. And that's the difference between him and like a guy like Matt Ryan is that Ryan Tannehill's success is in direct correlation with the scheme. Mm-hmm. And when he's outside of his comfort zone, he struggles tremendously. Derrick Henry is a huge injury risk. He's had over 1,500 carries in his career. The offensive line could be a disaster. They're going to be bad, but they could be a disaster this year. And the defense needs to play at an elite level. They did last year, but last year's Titans, in terms of, they were 26 in EPA per rush and 26 in yards per carry. I'm sorry, that's offensively. They're playing the 3rd toughest schedule of offenses this year. Last year they played a much easier schedule. So the Titans, to me, I don't look at their linebackers and think it's good or elite. Their secondary is not good or elite. They have an elite safety.
It's young
but
secondary.
It's Christian Fulton. It's Roger McCreary,
Caleb
rookie
Farley.
from Auburn. Caleb Fairley, who gets hurt. Elijah Molden. The defensive line is good. It's not great. Like, I do love Jeffrey Simmons. I love Harold Landry. Bud Dupree still has to show that he's the Bud Dupree of Pittsburgh days.
Didn't look up to last year.
But then looking at the offense, like, the Titans were 26 in EPA per rush and 26 in yards per carry on early down runs. Yet Todd Downing called the most early down run plays of in the NFL. The Titans are the most predictable offense. Run, pass. And it really limits Ryan Tannehill because now you're forcing Tannehill into obvious passing downs where the defense can load up, and that's where he really struggles. And you have to count on Robert Woods being healthy. The Titans have to rely on Treylon Burks having an outstanding rookie season. Like, there are a lot of
Not
ifs.
crazy.
There are a lot of ifs when it comes to the Titans.
Agreed.
And a lot of things have to go their way. Now, 9-8, I think they get it because Mike Vrabel is an outstanding coach.
Correct.
But this could be one of the bigger disappointments or one of the bigger fall-offs we see this season.
And I feel like that's pretty well said because I don't think that they're going to be a bottom feeder. No way. I think with Mike Vrabel being the head coach, you said it absolutely perfect. He's too good of a head coach to allow these boys to be undisciplined on both sides of the ball. So long as Derrick Henry is healthy, I believe in this offense. The offensive line is terrible when it comes to pass blocking. But regardless of that fact, Derrick Henry's going to go in there and he's going to still do his thing. The wide receivers in this offense do worry me. I'm a huge fan of Robert Woods. Shout out to Bobby Trees. I hope that he's healthy, ready to go this season because he is an underrated part of his game is his blocking ability too, which is going to be huge for Derrick Henry hitting the outside or trying to cut to that outside in between the tackle and the wide receiver as well. Robert Woods is very underrated when it comes to his blocking. Treylon Burks, though, is the X factor. As much as Derrick Henry needs to be the best player on the team, it's really a little unreasonable of me to ask this much of Treylon Burks, but in an offense that is in desperate needs of a big play type of guy, Treylon Burks was drafted in the first round. He needs to be one of those guys that the Tennessee Titans can rely on.
Basically traded for A.J. Brown.
Essentially. And listen, you got the poor man's version.
Idiots.
You got the respect. You got the poor man's version of A.J. Brown and Treylon Burks. And that's a lot of praise for me giving Treylon Burks, let's be honest, because A.J. Brown is a stud. Now, Treylon Burks needs to be that dual threat type of guy that you hit him with a screen, he can be elusive to make something happen and gain some yards out of that. He needs to be that guy that takes slants over the middle and gets yards after the catch. He needs to be that guy that can take over the top of the defenses. Treylon Burks needs to be an all-around beast for the Titans if they want to have success on that side of the ball. Regardless of that fact, I do have my worries about the offensive line and Tannehill, who really was just a shell of himself, shown the previous 2 seasons. I think that 9-8 is a fair record. That is what I have them at also. I do believe that they do finish in second. But would I be shocked, and I hate to do this because I'm really one of those guys that likes to be one way or the other. It would not shock me if the Tennessee Titans exceeded more than 9 wins. It really wouldn't be because Mike Vrabel is just that great of a head coach to me that him being the number 1 seed last season, there's nothing you can overlook with Mike Vrabel.
I thought you were going to go the opposite way. I thought you were going to say it wouldn't shock me if the Titans finished with 7 wins.
No,
Have you looked at their schedule recently?
No, it's a tough schedule.
I'm looking at it now. They have to go up to a hot start.
No, I agree.
Because weeks 7 through 13, they have an Indy at Houston, okay, but then KC, Denver, Green Bay, Cincy, Philly.
It's a tough schedule,
That
no
is
doubt.
that's
You look
a
at the
gauntlet.
Titans, one of the worst offensive lines.
Absolutely.
One of the worst receiving rooms in football. On average court.
It's probably like bottom
it's
10.
one of
Yeah.
the worst.
bottom
Okay,
10.
fair.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
bottom 10.
I'm with you.
You have an average quarterback. You have a good defensive line, average linebackers, bad secondary.
But they have good safeties. I mean, yes, their corners, which is the most essential part, is.
Their
but
corners have
They
upside, though.
need their corners do.
They do.
Christian Fulton, I think he can become a damn good corner.
Their safeties are great.
And Caleb
Safeties,
Farley
yeah.
too. So if they do take leaps, then yeah, I can be totally wrong on them. But there's just a lot of mediocrity with the Titans. Like for me, I wouldn't be shocked if this is a very down year for them.
I'm sorry to go ahead.
Because I thought you were going to go the way of saying they're going to have a down year because that's where I'm trending
All
to.
right, nice.
Shout out to Mike Vrabel, but it's just too many, like Joel says, too many holes on this team.
I get it.
The wide receiving core, we don't know. It's a mystery. Treylon Burks, like we said, rookie. Robert Woods, he's good, but I feel like he's only a number 2. Then you got the offensive line. It's going to struggle. The defensive line, it's good, like you said, but it's not great. Like, there's no greatness. Like, outside of Derrick Henry, I don't see much that this team can do. The cornerbacks, they are young, they're inexperienced. We don't know what they're going to do outside of Kevin Byrd or Byard. I don't know how to say his last name. Mm-hmm. This secondary is really, really weak. This team just has too many weaknesses on the offensive end and the defensive end. I did just look up their schedule. I see 6-7 wins.
It's bad.
Like they're gonna, maybe they can, like you said, Mike Vrabel can get them to steal about 2 or 3 of them. But realistically, looking at their team right now and projecting today, I see 6 winnable games. There's a lot of tough games. Chiefs, Bengals,
6
Broncos,
winnable games is not.
No, when I went through the schedule the first time, I just went like win loss. I'm with 6 wins.
Yeah, but it's hard because
they can go 0-3 the first 3 weeks.
It's difficult because last year you look at the Titans and you say
you guys are mid.
Giants.
Last year you look at the Titans and you're like, wow, they have a lot of tough games and people were counting on a regression there. And then you look at the Titans, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Rams. They beat the Bills.
That shows how good Vrabel is.
They beat a lot of damn good teams.
He's going to elevate you.
Would I be surprised? Would I be surprised if Tennessee beat Green Bay?
I wouldn't be. The year. Look, that team sucks.
It's just Henry's age.
Like
that's
Henry's age. Tannehill keeps getting older. They don't have a reliable number 1.
Green Bay is one of those. Green Bay is one of those teams that I'm sure you're looking at and you think that they're going to lose that game.
No, we're not, because Aaron Rodgers is a different type of demon.
No, but I'm saying you think that they should lose to Green Bay. That's what I'm saying.
Tennessee
should lose the game. But we have to see first them lock up that rush defense.
They're in Green Bay, though.
It's going to be a tough game.
That's a tough game to win in Aaron House.
I mean, listen, we've seen worse teams go in there and win, respectfully.
Regular season Aaron Rodgers like a week
13
game
he's gonna
against
come
Tennessee.
Crazy. But it's not crazy because, first we need to see them lock up their rush defense. We think that their defense is going to be great, one of the best defenses in the league. Correct.
Yeah. I think they're going to have an elite defense.
But let's say they definitely will. But what they needed to fix more than anything was their rush defense. And they have arguably the best running back in football in Derrick Henry going against them. He's shown against the Bills that he can take over a game and be the only offense that you need to win that game.
Who's also an injury risk. So you don't even
now,
know if he's gonna,
I guess you can say that.
Be there
but he came back from the injury. He didn't look great.
The Titans, I would say,
he can go down and it's over.
The Titans are one of those
teams. They won without him last year.
They are a hard evaluation.
They are.
It's not an easy team to evaluate and project. It's a hard evaluation.
Because on paper, the roster is not special, and the teams they play are special. So it makes you think like this is a 6-7 win team, but you bring Vrabel and actual like football shit that he's just great at that we're not looking at. He gives you a couple extra.
The number one thing that I'm looking at that is the issue is the offensive line. If this offensive line was solid, then I would have a lot more faith in Robert Woods and Treylon Burks. But if it really needs to, well, I guess these two guys can be those crossers across the field, make things happen.
Our defensive line is going to have to put a lot of pressure on offenses this year.
I like this defensive line. I mean, it should be fun. You have Simmons, who is one of the best interior linemen in the league.
They're good.
I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name.
Harold Landry.
Bud Dupree was not great. Yes, Harold Landry, absolutely. Bud Dupree was not great last season, but he's still one of those guys that you have to respect his game.
Denico Autry.
Like, they have guys that you can trust on the defensive line. It's when you go to the secondary, corners specifically, because their safeties are great, that's where you have issues. But they, like you mentioned already, they do have upside. This team, like you said, look, I'm really, you guys are making some great points. They're a tough team to evaluate because on paper, it's tough, but Mike Vrabel is not one of those guys that you overlook. It's impossible.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, I have them going 5-12. It's actually pretty hilarious. Now, the Jaguars are a dysfunctional franchise. We know this. This isn't news to anybody. But this stat just showcases how dysfunctional they really are.
It's a shame.
Since 2012, the Jaguars have spent $1.64 billion in free agency. No team since then has lost more games. They have been the biggest spender, and they have lost the most. And it's because they don't spend big on players that are actual game changers.
Well, who wants to go to Jacksonville?
We've seen them. They spent big this past offseason on Christian Kirk, good, not great. Aluokon, average. Brendan Scherf, good, but gets injured. He's injury prone. He's injury risk. Evan Ingram, a bust with New York with the Giants. He made a Pro Bowl, but it should have been Robert Tonyan.
Eli, that too. Facts. I forgot about that.
And Foley Fadakazi, who was a good run defender, but he's not a every down lineman. the Jaguars, to me, I think they're a 5-win team because I do believe in Trevor Lawrence.
Fair enough.
I think Trevor Lawrence, this is an amazing stat by him. On first half first downs, he's 9th in EPA, 2nd in success rate, 6th in yards per attempt, and 6th in completion percentage. He's one of the worst quarterbacks statistically on second down. On third down, he was good too, but 11 of his 17 interceptions came on second down. But Trevor Lawrence, knowing that the coaching last year was horrible, and now you have Doug Peterson, who has at least an average coach and a really great offensive mind, I think Trevor Lawrence's first down, first half stats can translate into the entire game. And Trevor, I think, takes a pretty significant leap this year.
How do you feel about the rookie they drafted?
Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Trayvon Walker.
I think he's good. I think he's raw.
He is. I'm excited for the Jags. I have them with 5 wins as well, but I think compared to the Texans, who we're talking about a bit, if I'm a Jaguars fan, I'm excited this year. You have Trevor Lawrence and Etienne coming back. Etienne has looked great in camp up to this report. James Robinson's also expected to be ready for week 1. That's a really quick recovery for a torn Achilles as well. And you look at the weapons they brought in with Christian Kirk, with Evan Ingram. They're not.
We'll see.
They're not these names that are going to be number 1 guys, right? But you have weapons. Yeah, Laviska hasn't done much up to this point, unfortunately. Having these weapons around Trevor, this isn't a bad offense, right? He has guys around here. In the grand scheme of the NFL, it's still probably a bottom 10 weapons room. But if we're expecting Trevor Lawrence to be what he is, he should make these guys better. He should get Christian Kirk to 1,000 yards. Evan Ingram should have a cute year. Etienne should be top 5 in catches for running backs, right? So there's a lot of good things if you're a Jaguars fan that's going on right now. As long as Trev looks good, him and Doug Peterson get along, that's the biggest win of the year. The wins and loss record, it really doesn't matter to me because this is a young team. This is a team that's not ready to compete yet. And, Doug Peterson's getting his footing back in the NFL after sitting out last season. I'm excited for the Jags to see what Trevor Lawrence is actually capable of doing without terribleness, that's not a word, but awfulness at head coach with Urban Meyer before. Defense is young, definitely needs some work too, but if I'm a Jaguars fan, man, I think things looking up.
I think it does matter because when you spend big in free agency, the first year doesn't come back to bite you, but the second it does. Well, that's what's happened with the Patriots.
Also, that $1.6 billion, it's a fake number. They didn't pay $1.6 billion. They gave out that in contracts.
Yeah, but still.
They probably paid out like $400 million, to be honest.
What I'm saying, though, is that the Jaguars next year, they're not going to have as much cap to play with because they spent big on average. And when you have a quarterback on a rookie contract, what allows you to be significantly better is because you can spend bigger on free agency.
Facts.
But now, like they have to hit on draft picks more than they usually do.
Yeah,
they don't even hit on draft picks anyway.
Damn.
What's their salary cap table?
It's not good. Right now they're $10 million over.
What about next year?
For 23, I'm saying.
Yeah, $10 million over.
20,
they could fix that though, right?
I would say they could get rid. They could make shit happen.
They could release some players on cap.
I know you briefly mentioned Doug Peterson. Maybe I missed it with you, but a very huge part of this offseason was Doug Peterson coming in.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson's going to do a great job in aiding Trevor Lawrence's development. You mentioned it. Urban Meyer came in, and that's who Trevor Lawrence had to deal with his rookie season. I couldn't think of a worse situation to come into if I'm Trevor Lawrence. Now I have a guy who actually knows what he's talking about, a guy that I can actually put my faith in, that he knows what he's doing. He's going to put me in situations to be successful. What I want to see from Trevor Lawrence is him slowing down his game and making the smart decisions. There were some times you saw where he was scrambling outside the pocket a little bit too soon, where he has a solid offensive line. He needs to trust his guys up front, not try and be Superman. I feel like now with Travis Etienne and his relationship with him going back to his Clemson days, I think Etienne, like you mentioned, is going to be amongst the league leaders in running backs in catches. He should be, at least, especially with his skill set. He's a baby Alvin Kamara. Of course, Alvin Kamara is a rare breed, but if there's anyone that comes to mind, it has to be Travis Etienne. He's looked very good in preseason. He's looked very good in camp, super explosive. And Trevor Lawrence needs to rely on him. Make the smart decision. Don't just think, oh, man, these guys aren't going to respect me if I'm not slinging the ball 10, 15, 20-plus yards. No, make the smart play. Do what best moves the football, moves the chain for you guys. And Etienne should be one of those guys that he relies on, and both of them have success this season. With that being said, I still can't look at this team in its entirety and expect it to win ball games. I do have them only winning 4 games. I just think that they are a year or two away from really being where they need to be. Trayvon Walker is going to be a solid piece. He's going to be in contention for Defensive Rookie of the Year, absolutely. But I just struggle to see this team in its entirety and think that it's going to be great. Offensively, you mentioned it, Christian Kirk was an addition. You bring in Zay Jones also, Evan Ingram. These just aren't guys that move the needle immensely for you. It moves the needle for Trevor Lawrence, absolutely.
It makes his life easier.
No doubt. And, of course, you have Marvin Jones, who's a vet in the locker room there, and that's a reliable option. But regardless of that fact, I do worry about the talent as a whole for the Jaguars, and I do only have them.
If they could get a wide receiver 1 next off, they can make some money move around, I'm sure. If they could acquire a real wide receiver 1, the offense looks a lot better with Kirk and Zay Jones as your 2 and 3. Need a tight end upgrade, but ETN as well. Like
Kirk
the offense
showed
looks
that
a
he
lot
could be
better.
a solid number 2 option.
Zay Jones at 3 is not.
Looking at the Jaguars cap table for 2023, all these players that have huge cap hits have even higher dead cap hits.
Yeah,
so they can't
cut them.
The only players they can release would be Shaquille Griffin.
Bye.
He would have 1 year left after next year.
Yeah, and they would save $13 million, which now puts them $3 million in cap space. And they can release Rayshawn Jenkins, which would save $6 million, and Roy Robertson Harris, which would save $8 million. So they could free up about like 14. They could free up like about 16 to 20 million in cap space with like cuts.
I believe you have to pay Josh Allen soon though.
Yeah, like a bulk of their players though are under contract and they can't be released, or else they'll suffer a dead cap hit.
For me personally, I have them finishing at the bottom of the division, but like Dehls said, I'm not really looking for that. I'm just looking to see Trevor Lawrence improve. When you have a team like this, you get a rookie quarterback, you just want to see improvements. You bring in the little guys that can help improve his game, and then you bring in the coach. Now, Peterson and Lawrence, you want them to work, you want them to connect, you want them to build that chemistry and get better. Laviska Shenault, I'm not really too high on him. I still think they need to find another guy. Christian Kirk is a fine number 2, but Evan Ingram, like you said, bust. The defense, it looks cool. It looks good on paper, but I don't think they're going to perform that highly. They have a couple good players, but nothing crazy. So they will finish at the bottom of the division, the bottom of the AFC. But that's not really what I want to see. Like I said, just Trevor Lawrence improving. He's one of those highly touted rookies that came in last season. So you want to see him continuously get better on the field. And I think they have the running back group for that. I think they have the type of receivers that can help him get better in the little stuff, in the middle, in between, the short routes. Like, just help him get better little by little at his game. And now you have Doug Peterson that can implement an offense that makes Trevor Lawrence better. So that's all the stuff I want to see. But they will finish at the bottom of the AFC in general, to be honest.
He's looked great in the preseason. Trevor Lawrence, that is.
Throwing some dots.
The last team for me, Texans, 3-14. Their rate of scoring on a drive was the lowest in the NFL since 2018. They have the 5th most difficult schedule. And really, I'm not high on the Texans at all. I think that they're trending in the right direction. I think the defense is going to be improved. Derek Stingley, Jalen Petre, the safety out of Baylor, I think they're going to be stars. I think they're going to be cornerstones on that Texans defense. The offensive line isn't as horrible as it was in the Deshaun Watson days. But Davis Mills, I know he had an okay rookie season, but I'm really not high on his future, like going forward. I think Davis Mills is okay, but one thing is for sure is that the Texans can't babysit Davis Mills this year. They have to put him in tough situations, and I'm not saying that like put him in positions to fail, but if you have a 3rd and long play, don't give it to the fucking halfback on a draw. Let him throw that pass. So I want to see them make Davis Mills be more aggressive.
Fair enough.
Because they need to find out if Davis Mills can be their quarterback.
I agree.
Because they'll be bad enough to the point that in the draft, they can pick a Stroud. They can pick a Bryce Young. They can pick one of these top guys. So you have to see what you have in Davis Mills. And when not using play action, 77% of his passes were 10 yards or shorter. When using play action, 65% of his passes were 10 yards or shorter. So he's a check down artist.
Yeah.
Anybody high on Mechie?
He's out.
He's out.
He has cancer, actually.
In general. Yeah, but he's coming back. He could come back. He can come back.
Yeah,
but
he should be good.
My only thing when it comes to the checkdowns is they don't have the weapons to really be aggressive and be pushing the ball downfield. Brandon Cooks, absolutely, he's been the epitome of consistency.
His Hall of Famer.
I'm excited for Nico Collins.
Hold on, what?
I'm excited for Nico Collins.
Son of a bitch.
Sorry.
Took the words right out of my
Hall
mouth.
of Famer.
Nico Collins.
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. There you go. Good take. I don't know if you're making fun of me.
He's trolling you. He's definitely trolling.
I mean, listen, he's been a mild consistency.
Stop.
Don't talk. You don't even know about Brandon Cooks.
What are you talking about?
That being said, you look at Nico.
Why you just lie on me?
I'm
like
sorry,
that?
bro. That was rude of me.
It's okay.
Nico Collins is actually one of those guys that I am excited for. I want to see him take a step along as well as Davis Mills.
I'm more excited for Brevin Jordan, personally.
Very good take, too.
Damian Pierce.
Can you guys let me talk?
Sorry, my bad.
Jesus.
I thought we were just saying names. My bad.
Jesus.
My bad.
The Damian Pierce hype train is real. He just that's you got these two. All right. No, Damian Pierce, the hype train is legit. He finally got named as the RB1. He is a beast, definitely a workhorse running back. He has the capabilities to be a true running back one in this league.
Is he officially named RB1?
I think they did name him RB1
in the
yesterday. Correct.
I know Lovie Smith came out and didn't announce it.
They cut Marlon Mack. That was more than yesterday.
That was a couple days
yes.
ago.
But I think this offense is going to be okay. I think that Davis Mills will do enough though to give him another year. But I just need to see Nico Collins take a step. If they have the opportunity, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, yes, you don't think twice.
Not if Davis Mills is good, like great this year.
No, if he's great this year, of course you use that pick.
If he's great this year, you probably don't have a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
I think he can still be
If
great and
he's
it can
great-
be bad.
Wait,
I mean,
even-
Deshaun Watson was
That's
one of the
true.
best quarterbacks in the league.
But even if
4
he's
games.
great, you take the whiff and you don't take Bryce's CJ.
Nah, if he's great, yes, you have your franchise guy.
I'll be
You
honest,
fill out the
he's
roster.
great. I trade Davis Mills and I take CJ or Bryce.
Okay,
That's
I
what
don't
was
mind that
thinking, like,
either.
That's what I do.
I don't mind that.
I think you
That's a
still
good
got to
pick.
take Bryce.
That's a good
Because
opinion.
they're just such better prospects. It's night and day. I'm excited for the weapons room in Houston.
Mid Mills.
I'm not a big Davis Mills fan. I know you think he could be a franchise quarterback. I don't see it. Who's playing with my feet, bro? Riv, why you playing with my feet?
I'm sorry. I was laughing at the take. Not playing with your feet.
You were
Tweet
playing
that.
with
I
my feet.
tweeted that.
He could be a franchise.
At
quarterback?
Andrew
What's
5A's
wrong
on
with
Twitter.
you?
Listen, I
You're
just
just saying some wild shit. You good?
that's not. What have I been
You've
saying?
been
that's
in on a
wild?
lot of guys lately.
Yeah,
Pause.
you've been real deep in with men. Like
Facts. Davis Mills, you've been big
2022,
Justin Fields
baby.
Damon
fan.
Pierce now. That's your big
Not.
agenda.
No, I
Damon
mean,
Pierce
Damian
has
Pierce.
been-
There's agendas.
There's
All right,
agendas.
there's agendas.
What's with the Davis Mills? Mid
Davis Mills? I just like the listen. Last
You
year
like
he
the way he
definitely
You like his
overachieved.
neck?
Definitely. I think he
was
overachieved, and the fact that what's overlooked is that he filled the shoes of Deshaun Watson and played well for what the expectations were.
So what do you think his ceiling is? Like top 15 franchise?
Probably in that
quarterback?
15 to 20 range.
Okay.
Right? There's franchise quarterbacks that are in that
Borderline
15.
franchise.
Just want to make sure I get a gauge where you.
I
You know what I'm
understand.
saying?
I'm excited for the weapons. You mentioned them, Nico Collins, the young guys. We know what Cooks is. Nico Collins, Damian Pierce, see where they could be. Our boy DJ, the ex-Jets reporter, said Damian Pierce looks electric, the clear running back one in that room. Lovie Smith is just him being old school and not wanting to name the rookie right away. But I think week one, you'll see Pierce be the clear number one. The only other real option they have behind him is Rex Burkhead. Marlon Mack did re-sign with the practice squad, but if you're on the practice squad, you're not going to be that involved at week-to-week basis. So Houston, their draft was interesting, I think. You got Derek Stingley at 3, who's kind of a boom-bust prospect. Drew, I know you're really high on him. I'm not exactly sure what he's been doing during camp, honestly.
Derek Stingley?
Doing really good.
Oh no,
Good?
he's going to be a star.
Yeah. They drafted Kenyon Green as well, who could play 4 positions on the offensive line. Jalen
That's
Petrie, you
fucking
mentioned
huge.
as well. John Mechie, unfortunately, does have leukemia. He was dealing with the ACL injury as well, so I don't know if he was going to play this year regardless. But next season, potentially stepping into a wide receiver.
Are they
2
giving
role.
like money compensation for that or not?
I'm sure he does, yeah. And then Damian Pierce, as we mentioned, round 4. So their draft is shaking out to look really good as long as these guys sit. It's been training camp in the preseason, so obviously nothing really has happened yet. But, the young guys I'm excited for, I got them going 4-13, last in the division.
So for the AFC South, the Colts at 11-6, the Titans at 9-8, the Jaguars at 5-12, and the Texans at 3-14.
I got the Colts in first, 10-7, Titans in second, 9-8, third the Jaguars, 5-12, fourth the Texans, 4-13.
I do have the Indianapolis Colts finishing first with an 11-6 record. I have the Tennessee Titans coming in second with a 9-8 record. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars finishing with a 4-13 record in last place. Houston Texans with 3-14.
And I do have the Colts finishing first in the division. I have the Titans finishing second. I have the Jags being right behind them at 3. And then I have the Texans finishing last.
And now on to the last segments of the podcast.
Let's do it, man.
The 49ers agreed to a restructured 1-year contract that is worth $6.5 million and is a fully guaranteed base salary to Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, playtime bonuses could increase Jimmy G's earnings to $16 million. And this was good for the Niners and Jimmy G, right? The Niners have a the best backup quarterback in the NFL.
Sure.
Literally.
And Jimmy Garoppolo, had he not accepted this, would have been cut. He only had $2 million in guaranteed money anyway, and now he gets $6 million guaranteed, which is probably what he was going to get in an open market. Now, what do you think this means for Trey Lance, Joe? 'Cause I know you don't think it means much.
I've been excited for this topic for days, ever since the news really broke. Do you guys want to play a game with me?
Yeah.
Dude,
You want to play a game?
hell yeah.
Like, my favorite thing to do, we talk about on the Patreon, I wanted to be a GM, right? Like, that was my life goal. Like, I would love to be a GM one day. That would be tough. So when I was doing my notes for the show, I was thinking, all right, let me put myself in John Lynch's shoes, right? Go through all of the situations that happened up to it and, like, what decision would I come through to Jimmy G. So just to set up the scene real quick, you had last season, which was a success, right? You go to the NFC Championship game. This is the second time in 3 years you make it this far. Jimmy G's your guy. The Niners look great. Wasn't because of Jimmy G. Let's get that out of the way right away, right? They had 3 games in the playoffs. He threw more interceptions than touchdowns. There was only 1 game he threw for more than 200 yards. There was only 1 game he even threw for a passing touchdown. So this was not because of Jimmy G. This was in spite of Jimmy G. And regardless, he made it to the NFC Championship game, so people are going to talk about him and how much he wins and all of that. But now in the offseason...
No, he's right.
Where's the game?
What?
You said we're playing a game.
I'm setting up the scene.
Oh,
I'm setting up
okay.
the scene.
Fuck.
This is the guy, right? This is our guy
I
right now.
was waiting for so long.
I was going to say, I'm setting up the scene. We're gonna get into it. So now it's the offseason, right? You're John Lynch. You're starting, or you're expecting to start Lance. You haven't said anything yet, but now your guy, Jimmy Garoppolo, he needs shoulder surgery. Your season ended in January. For whatever reason, he waited till March to get the surgery.
Idiot.
So it's kind of weird. He's not going to be ready for training camp. So he's not going to be able, if you want to do any new offensive installs or anything like that, it's going to be hard to trade him because he's not ready in mini camp or training camp. So it's hard for teams to want to trade for him because you can't have your starting quarterback on the field, right? So that's difficult. And then later on in the offseason, your head coach, who you love dearly, Shanahan, he's the guy, no matter what. Lance is our starter. He's the guy. Bet. We know we're going forward with Lance. He made that very clear before training camp even started. Lance has taken every snap
Jimmy
with the ones.
G is never playing a snap for the Niners ever again?
I'm not
They
sure.
said something around that line?
They did ask him, why is Jimmy G listed on the depth chart? He said, because we have to. So that was interesting. He was like 3rd or 4th. But now Lance has taken every snap with the ones in the camp in the preseason, right? So you have all this information here, and now you're the GM. So we have 3 choices here, fellas. I would like to know which ones you guys
I'm
would go
waiting
with.
for this, man.
You have 3 choices. The first choice is to trade him. At any time during this, you could. But remember, he had shoulder surgery. He cannot play. He's not going to be on the field. He is rehabbing. If you have a new coach, new offense, you can't do any new plays. If you do want to trade for him, there's one trade partner. It's your division rival. It's the Seahawks. You play week 2, by the way. You have to see Jimmy G twice this year. A huge upgrade over Drew Lock or Geno Smith. So you could trade him. Movable contract, not a lot of guaranteed money. You could also release him. You save $25 million in cap space if you do this, but he'll probably go to those division rival Seattle Seahawks. Don't know if I want to do that. Your third option, you could restructure the deal, right? Okay, let's think about this real quick. His base salary was $24 million before the restructure. Goes down to $6 million. That's the same as Teddy
Bridgewater. He didn't
Bridgewater.
have guaranteed money anyway, though.
$2 million, yeah, $2 million guaranteed.
He just had $2 million guaranteed.
He's making the same as Teddy Bridgewater, Case Keenum, and Tyrod Taylor. You're paying him as a backup. He gets to stay on the team. He gets to be a veteran presence. And your starting quarterback, Trey Lance, said, this is the best case scenario, man. He helped me out a ton last year. He's going to help me out a ton this year. So you guys are in the GM chair. Which would you do? Trade him, release him, restructure, and have him be the best backup quarterback?
One question to the game.
Yes.
Are they going to trade me like a 1st-round pick or a 2nd-round pick?
You were getting a 5th, maybe.
Oh, no. Fuck it. So I'll restructure.
nothing.
Yeah, I'm restructuring, and he'll stay on the team. Me personally.
You restructure. However, I told you this already. I'm a believer in Trey Lance and him being really good. But the fact that they decided to keep Jimmy G and pay money for the highest paid backup in the league.
And $6 million.
Regardless, you're still the highest paid backup in the league.
Tyrod Taylor's 6.5. Case Keenum's $6 million. Tyrod's 5.5.
What's his salary for the next season? For this upcoming
one-year
season?
deal.
For this season?
Oh,
or is
just-
that next season? No, because he's
Garoppolo-
still on the
$6 million
contract.
guaranteed.
Just this year. Garoppolo is not signed in
Wait,
23.
does Tyrod have $6 million guaranteed? Or is that just the
I think that's just, but he's going to be on the team the whole year. He's going to get $6 million.
no? Because there could be playtime.
I guess there could be some incentives. I have his base salary at 6. I could be off.
All right.
I just think that, with that being said, it just leaves very minimal room for error if you're Trey Lance, especially if Garoppolo's on.
I just add
on
one
the
thing.
team.
This is a Super Bowl contending team. If you don't have Jimmy G, your backup is Nate Sudfeld, 37 career NFL passes. So if Trey Lance goes down to injury,
You're
this is what you're
fucked.
stuck with.
Because Garoppolo was definitely banged up towards the back end of the last season, and they said Trey Lance, no.
Well, Garoppolo was healthy enough to start.
Yeah, but, I mean, did he look good when he did that?
No, they still won with him not looking good.
I mean, that's a testament to the Niners more so than Jimmy G.
Agreed.
Now,
But if Lance was like that, maybe they would have given him a shot.
one of the points you brought up were, do I want to trade him to my division rival? Trade him there. We'll kick their ass anyway.
I
they
agree.
suck.
I agree.
The Seahawks suck. And Jimmy Garoppolo with Jimmy G, with no Jimmy G, they're still going to lose a shit ton of games. It doesn't matter for me. It does nothing for me. The fact that this includes a no trade clause and a no tag clause, or no trade clause specifically, is an eye opener. I understand why they'd keep Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, they're 8-28 when a quarterback not named Jimmy G starts for Kyle Shanahan. They're 35-16 with him. The reason why I don't like this is because, well, Shanahan and John Lynch knew about Jimmy G's surgery in May and August, and all along they've been saying he's not going to be on the team. In May, Shanahan said, I expect that sometime, most likely, he'll be traded, but who knows. In July, had an awesome run with Jimmy. It was great. But when you bring in the salary cap and things like that, there's just so many tough decisions you have to make. We made that decision a year ago. So they said this decision was made that Jimmy G was gone a year ago. Then in late July, Kyle Shanahan said Jimmy will be in a good spot, most likely somewhere else. All of these signs are pointing to Jimmy G not being on the team. Jimmy Garoppolo in July. The 49ers are not dumb. I think they knew teams wouldn't want to be interested in Jimmy G because he couldn't practice. But Jimmy Garoppolo in July, when he was cleared to practice, didn't practice for the Niners, didn't attend meetings.
I should tell you what the thing about Trey Lance.
It wasn't even, they didn't even really embrace him into the team even when he was cleared. Then in August, he was placed fourth on the depth chart. Well, he was in late July, he's also placed fourth on the depth chart. You already said it. Shanahan said he's only on there because he needs to be. He was already gone. Then in August 9th, he said that August 9th. Kyle Shanahan all along have said Trey Lance is the only guy, and Jimmy G was most likely getting traded. So in my head, what changed? Was it because they all of a sudden came to a realization that they couldn't trade Jimmy Garoppolo? I feel like they've known that for months. The trade market has been like that for months. It wasn't going to change from that point to this point. Now, they're bringing Jimmy Garoppolo in. And is having a backup quarterback good? Yes, it is. With the guys you named, Tyrod Taylor, what has he done in his career?
It's been good.
He's done nothing.
Good. Jesus Christ.
What is Case Keenum?
When he was a starter in Buffalo, he was good.
He was all right.
What has Case Keenum done?
He was a Pro Bowler.
Playoff win Case
When does
Keenum.
that mean anything?
Playoff win Case Keenum. He did years ago with Minnesota. We know he's a backup.
He's been ass now.
Are these guys not some of the best backups in the league?
What I'm saying is that
though?
you're not getting what I'm saying.
He's a backup.
Jimmy Garoppolo with this current team made a Super Bowl and made an NFC championship.
Second run was not because of him.
Hell no.
The first one wasn't either. This feels a lot like the Eagles with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles.
Except
the difference
the
is
Eagles made the wrong move.
Nick Foles won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think it was both the wrong move.
They were both the wrong move. But what did the Eagles do to reassure their young quarterback? Extension, Foles, you're out.
Foles was a free
What do you
agent.
mean both were the wrong move?
They didn't extend him, though. They didn't want to bring him back.
Can I ask you, what was both
You would
the
have to
wrong
pay
move?
him multiple years. This was a 1-year deal for Jimmy G. He's gone after this year.
But what I'm saying is that they ultimately, after that Super Bowl run, they gave the Carson Wentz the reassurance that you're our guy.
They actually think they might have paid him that year.
They paid Carson Wentz right after the Super Bowl win.
Yeah, facts.
Right after.
Well, Lance isn't eligible for a contract.
But that's what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they paid the guy that didn't win you a Super Bowl because they trust in their young quarterback. They trust that you're going to be the guy going forward. If the 49ers had so much belief in Trey Lance, and I mean, there's no doubt he's going to be a superstar. Like, they see it. It's vivid. It's apparent. Jimmy Garoppolo's gone. The reason why, yes, injuries do play a part. The 49ers could be thinking, if Trey Lance gets injured, we have Jimmy G. But you know what I think they're actually thinking? Well, in training camp, Trey Lance has been up and down this entire summer. He's been inconsistent. In preseason, the game versus the Packers, I know he didn't throw many passes, but he did miss some routine throws. And versus the Texans, pressure was getting home, so he wasn't going to look good regardless. I think the Niners are looking at this like, man, if Trey Lance goes on a 4-game slump, Jimmy Garoppolo could step in.
It's true.
And now having Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster now opens the door for that
what does
controversy.
that do for your young quarterback, though?
No, but it's not great for his mentality.
Exactly. And now if you are constantly
if you're
looking
Lance, dude,
over
you're happy
my
about
shoulder.
this, keep it a stack.
That shit knocks your confidence.
To the media, you say, "Oh, this is great." Inside, I'm like, "All right, like, you traded 3 firsts. You traded 3 firsts for him."
Okay, that has nothing to do with anything.
No,
let me ask you this.
If Trey Lance is a 3rd-round draft pick, this isn't a conversation.
But absolutely no one is saying that Trey Lance doesn't have supporting of the franchise.
Okay.
But we're saying is if Trey Lance sucks, you're telling me that you don't even think a little bit that Jimmy G is going to come in and play?
He would have to be really bad.
Okay, but that's exactly what I'm saying.
What if he throws 3 picks in a game?
In one game, you start him the next week.
What if he throws 2 picks the next game?
You start him. He would have to suck for like 5, 6 games.
Let me ask you, if the Niners go out and start the season 2-4, does Garoppolo play?
No.
But that's the thing. I'm gonna ask you,
bro. They have a championship roster. You can't miss.
And then what do? You play Jimmy G. Then what?
Okay,
we know what Jimmy G is.
You have a chance to go to the NFC
awful in the playoffs,
and they went to the NFC Chip.
Joe, you played a game.
It's more of a safety thing.
Joe, you played a game.
Lance,
now play a game.
That bad that Jimmy G wasn't in the playoffs?
I don't think so. Listen, I think
they still won.
Listen, I believe in Lance. I don't think that opportunity will come. My point is, I'm living in a hypothetical right now. Let's say he goes and starts the season 2-4. The team realizes,
and he's not playing well.
We are not in a position where we thought we would be. Last season, with a worse quarterback, we made it to the NFC Championship game. Garoppolo has been the epitome of safe. Do we want to go and put Jimmy Garoppolo out there where we know our floor is a playoff team?
If you want to hurt his development.
But that's why this is a concern. Because you already have, if I'm Lance, I have that idea that,
you
man.
think Shanahan's thinking that as smart as he is, though?
That has nothing to do with what I mean, though. My whole point is Trey Lance still understands that I have this guy in the back of my mind, because ultimately, if I mess up in any degree, he's right there to come in and take my spot.
Let me ask you. Let's play a game, Joel, because you want to play a fucking game. Is Josh Allen looking over his shoulder with Case Keenum?
Nope.
Is Tua looking over his shoulder with Teddy Bridgewater?
Probably not, but more than Josh Allen.
Okay. Do you think?
Yeah, Kyle.
Do you think that Tua's looking over his shoulder more with Teddy than Trey Lance is with Jimmy G?
No.
Say that again.
I get exactly what he's saying.
Looking, okay.
Yes, that's an easy question.
No. Because Jimmy G has gone to the Super Bowl. He's gone.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
the backup
concern.
quarterbacks you're naming. The starters aren't looking over their shoulders.
Well, yeah, Jimmy G is the best backup in the league.
Trey Lance, he has to prove himself week to week. And it's different from like another situation that a young quarterback would be in, because of course you have to prove yourself week to week. But Trey Lance is now operating under the assumption that I have to prove myself week to week or I can be replaced.
And you know why they included no trade clause, right? So Jimmy G can choose if they want to trade him. What if they could trade him anytime up in the season? And now he has a much more movable contract.
Jimmy has to agree to whatever destination.
He does. And if he could go somewhere, quarterback gets hurt, he could go start, he'll probably agree.
Yeah, but he has leverage.
So do the Niners.
And let me ask you this.
Deal.
Huh?
It's a 1-year deal,
yeah,
right?
he signed through this year. It's not a multi-year deal. He signed through this year.
deal.
The Niners, I understand what you guys are saying, right? Lance is looking over his shoulder because Jimmy G has had success with this team, regardless of his play. But from a front office perspective, what the 49ers are thinking, this makes the most sense.
They could have also cut Jimmy G, saved $24 million, and possibly explored the trade market further down the line in the season to acquire a big-time player.
They thought they'd be able to trade him. Why cut him when you think you get a 4th-round pick?
Because you could save $24 million.
But you also thought that maybe he'd be farther away in his rehab process, something to trade him to get a pick instead of cutting him outright.
So let me ask you
Jimmy
this.
G was too good to just cut. That's
saving $24 million, though.
That's
a big time
I don't like
thing.
this move because Trey Lance now looks over his shoulder.
Correct.
I don't believe the Niners put their young quarterback in an uncomfortable position if he has been lights fucking out.
Correct.
If he's been Justin Fields,
Yes, and played.
if Trey Lance has been Justin Fields. They cut Jimmy Garoppolo.
What the?
What? You're saying that off a preseason game?
That's what he said.
And training camp.
Justin Fields has been really good in camp.
He's been great.
No,
I get what he's
Fields
saying.
had a couple good
Yes.
preseason games. He has not been
He had
light
3
out in
touchdowns, 0
training camp.
picks.
He has not been. He's had good days.
So when
He's
it
had bad
matters,
days.
he's been
Just
really
like
good.
Trey
It
Lance.
has the preseason doesn't matter.
No, I'm not
preseason
saying that, but
does not-
but
So you
it's
can't say
a
it when it
quarterback-
matters.
He's a Jordan Love fan. I'm not surprised
A
he's
quar-
saying
a
that.
quarterback-
You know, like,
A quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo who's led a team to the Super Bowl and an NFC championship. Obviously, he wasn't the main part of that.
That was rude.
But let me ask you that. Let me ask you this.
What's up?
You don't think Jimmy Garoppolo, as a competitor, he also decided to sign back with San Fran?
He did.
He didn't have to. He could have gotten released and signed with whatever team he wanted. Why do you think he signed back with San Fran? Maybe he's thinking, I could take this fucking guy's job. That's what he's
he
thinking.
gets $6 million to be a backup.
wait,
and get
Maybe
traded.
he's thinking, you know what? I don't really fully believe this guy can really play. You don't think Jimmy Garoppolo in the back of his mind is like, you know what? I think maybe throughout the season, I'm going to play.
He's got to worry about his damn
But
play
that,
instead
and
of
also at the
fucking
same
asses.
time, if I'm Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm thinking, man, we can go out there and win a damn championship.
Trey Lance is going to get every opportunity to be the starter, to be
Absolutely,
the franchise.
absolutely.
No, there's no doubt.
Like you guys would, Trey Lance would have to be bad for a month and a half.
That's what I said.
And
that's not gonna happen.
I'm
I
just
said
confused.
that.
Hold on, I'm just confused because Justin Fields last year, you were his biggest hater. It's
true.
On the
I
show, you
wasn't
were
his
his
biggest
biggest hater. You said
You
how
were.
terrible
You
he
were.
constantly
No, I
looked.
wasn't.
We tried to bring up the Steelers
did
team.
look terrible.
It was this, it was that.
Yeah, it wasn't
Now
impressive.
he has a good preseason game, and it's off. He's
Nah,
the
he's
fucking
had a whole good
franchise.
preseason.
Hold up.
His
we don't
stats
need
in the whole
anything.
preseason were
Well,
really
has
good.
Justin Fields has he had a better camp than Trey Lance?
They've both been up and down.
Let me ask
They
you.
really have both been up
Hey,
and down in training
let me
camp.
ask you: is this because right now? Let's stop going off of fucking opinion. Let's go off of fact.
Okay.
Is it not a fact that Trey Lance has been struggling in camp?
He has been up and down.
No, he's been struggling.
He has been
It's
up
been
and
a
down.
fact. Is it not a fact that he struggled versus the Vikings in joint practices?
Dude, I don't give a fuck.
What do
It's
you
joint
mean?
practice and training camp.
Is it not a
He's
fact
gonna
that-
be the fucking starter week
What do you
one.
mean?
If he
If
sucks,
you're not-
week
He's
one,
gonna
we'll
be
have
the
this
starter. He's
conversation.
gonna be the starter.
If you're not good in camp, what makes you
He's
think you're
looked
going to
good
be
in
good in the regular
preseason games.
season?
The first game against the Packers, he looked great.
I mean, but doesn't
We had
this?
a beautiful
wait, so
Oh,
time.
he didn't look great.
Wait,
No,
wait,
he
wait,
did.
dude,
He
bro,
was high as fuck
easy-
on mad passes. What are you talking about?
easy
So
way
you
to
think
look.
Fields is going to be great in the regular season? This
Easy
year?
way to
Nah,
look
nah.
at it is
He'll be okay. He'll be
You
all
could
right.
Who's
say
gonna be better,
that-
Lance or Fields?
Lance is going to have.
Okay,
of course.
so what's the conversation?
Lance is in a
we're
better
having?
situation.
You just
though.
said if you had Justin Fields, you would fucking cut Garoppolo.
I'm saying if Lance had the camp the summer Fields has, they would have cut Garoppolo.
I must have missed all this Fields hype because I've heard good things and bad things about Fields, just like I've heard good things and
He had a
bad
great-
things
he had a
about
great
Lance.
preseason.
He had a great preseason game. I don't really care
You're
about
missing
the
the point.
preseason.
If Trey
See,
Lance,
but that-
I'm a-
see, I
I'm a
don't.
Justin
and
Fields
I
fan.
I don't disagree with that because how you said if you play bad, it could translate to playing bad in the regular season, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's always the same because we've seen players play great in the preseason.
Just won 3 games
Look
in
at-
the preseason.
Exactly. Look at
okay,
Zach
but
Wilson last season.
If you're, answer me this: if Trey Lance was lights fucking out in the summer, would they have brought back Jimmy G?
Well,
Jimmy G's a Seahawk.
they already had that. They didn't have the chance.
Jimmy
Because
Jesus
by the
Seahawk.
time fucking training camp came around in August, it was already too late. You're already installing offenses. You're installing. You have quarterbacks. In,
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. And even with what all you're saying, August 9th, which we're already past mini
Did the
camps and
Seahawks
training
make a
camps.
deal?
it's in training camp.
Au-
August 9th. We're 2 weeks into training
August
camp.
9th. Okay, August 9th, Kyle Shanahan was already saying Jimmy G's fucking gone. And then
thought
they
he
bring
would
him
be.
back.
No one wanted to trade for him.
And then
What
they
are you
bring him
gonna
back.
do?
Okay.
It wasn't an ideal
They-
situation.
Bro, they
dude.
knew his trade market all along. They knew it had to come to getting cut.
mean, bro,
So
you
you
and I-
would have
or
just
keep
cut
him.
him and just had Nate Sudfeld be the backup.
Yeah, to come from my young quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like you're fine basically punting the year. If Trey Lance sucks
I'm not
or if he gets
punting the
hurt,
year.
that's basically what you're saying.
So wait, that's interesting. Punting the year, right? So I think Trey Lance stays healthy, right? Hypothetically. But you're under the assumption that Trey Lance can be terrible.
I'm a Trey Lance
And that's
truther.
why you keep
I'm
Jimmy
a
G.
fan. That's why I believe in it. I don't, but you have to look from the other side. Yes, if Trey Lance sucks or if he gets hurt, two things that, well, injury, whatever, I don't think is going to happen. Yes, having Jimmy G as your backup is the best luxury any team could have in the NFL.
From a logical standpoint, a football perspective, it makes sense.
That's why they did it.
From the perspective of comforting your young quarterback
Correct.
and making him feel secure, it is a
did
horrible
not calling him the
decision.
starter in July, giving him every rep, not even have Jimmy G in the room on
mean,
the practice
bro,
field.
bro.
He's not even in the locker room.
Dude, the week before the regular season starts, you go and you make this deal with Jimmy G. That's not
the season's gonna start. You either cut him or some shit's got to happen by September 1st.
Regardless of that,
got to get down to 53.
Yes, listen, they've been saying Trey Lance is our guy. Trey Lance is our guy. Trey Lance is our guy. The week before the regular season,
Drew,
they go and they make this.
Drew,
move.
I don't think
it's not ideal.
Drew, you have to get your roster down to 53 on August 30th.
Okay, I understand.
If you're paying him $20 million, you might cut him. Oh, let's see if we could get a deal. They waited to the last minute.
Yes, but
because they had to get the roster down to 53.
And I'm not saying that what you're saying isn't sound, but I'm also saying it from this perspective. If I'm Trey Lance, I've been told I'm the guy. This guy, Jimmy Garoppolo, is not even a concern to me at all. The week before the regular season starts, yes, they have to solidify a spot, but there was options for Jimmy G and for what the team had to do with him. They decided to sign him to a 1-year extension.
Now we know
it was a restructure.
You understand
now we
what
know
I mean,
they
though.
restructured his contract. Now let me ask you, Joel. A month ago, had I told you this is going to come down to the wire, would you have said the Niners cut or keep Jimmy G?
And have this restructure?
No, this wasn't even an option. We never thought about this.
Because I know, but I'm saying I
that's
know
the
that
reason why they kept him.
We've never talked about this, but I am under the assumption that had we talked about this, you probably would have said you cut Jimmy G.
Nah, you take the restructure.
He's paying him $6 million.
You take the restructure. Because listen, when we all started this game, we said the same thing. You take the restructure, but you look at it from the actual perspective. It is not ideal.
Kyle
for
Shanahan and John Lynch are in a room like this. They're talking, how are we going to have the most successful season? We cut Jimmy G, or we could pay this man $6 million.
Can I ask you what's a question? What's a bigger deal? What's a bigger deal for you? Your young quarterback's development that you spent the number 3 overall pick on, or Jimmy G?
You mean winning the chip?
It's hard. Exactly. It's hard because there's...
Of course. That's exactly what I'm saying.
There's just not many opportunities in the NFL where you just had the number 3 pick and you're also a Super Bowl caliber team.
So what happens...
It has to be winning the chip.
So what happens if Trey Lance does get injured, Jimmy Garoppolo comes in, plays lights fucking out, and Trey Lance comes back?
That's the Colin Kaepernick and Alex Smith. That's the same shit, and they stuck with Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick was younger.
Trey Lance
yeah,
still
that's true. Yes, but they stuck with the hot hand.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
so they
different
stick with...
coaching shit.
Okay, so let's say you stick with Jimmy G. What happens after that season?
I wouldn't want to be the 49ers GM.
That's why you cut Jimmy G.
No, you keep Lance.
That's why you cut.
But that's
Jimmy
only
G.
going to happen if Trey Lance plays extremely bad for 5
or
to
he
6
gets
weeks.
hurt, and Jimmy Garoppolo comes in and plays
great. We have a
great.
large enough sample size with Jimmy G to know what he is. If the Niners wanted to keep okay, maybe you keep Jimmy G, and then you're going to try to get another quarterback.
We know what Jimmy G is, which is average to good quarterback. We don't know what Trey Lance is.
He was terrible in the playoffs this year. He was dog shit.
You can think all you want Trey Lance is going to be a star. I'm not saying he's not going to be, but with Jimmy G, you know what the floor is. With Trey Lance, you don't know anything yet.
I agree. I know. It's a safe bet. And if you're a Super Bowl caliber team, I understand taking the safe bet. There's 2 different arguments going on. It's a front office, what makes the most logical sense for football, which 9 times out of 10, that's what it's going to come down to. Or is it your developmental of a young quarterback and his mental health? You know what I'm saying? Like his mental. How is he going to deal with it? But this is the thing, Drew, we were talking about this. If you're Trey Lance, if you're going to be a franchise quarterback, you got to overcome shit.
Facts.
You can't have a weak mind and be like, this guy's over my back. You can't.
Yeah.
So this is Trey Lance. His first time starting, he's going to have a guy. It's a test. Exactly. So if Trey Lance wasn't going to be a franchise quarterback,
he said, and that's what I've been saying with Jordan Love.
Nuts.
He's overcoming. He has a great mindset.
If Trey Lance wasn't going to work out, it's not because Jimmy G wasn't the backup. It's because he wasn't built for it.
Facts.
I think Trey Lance is built for it, so this Jimmy G shit doesn't move me.
Spitting.
It makes it an awkward situation.
You're spitting crazy right now.
I understand why it makes it awkward, but if Trey Lance is going to be, the franchise guy, he already has that mental makeup to get over it.
That's fair.
Now you just said some real shit.
It's fair.
You going to spit crazy.
That's fine.
You just going wild,
bro.
just now.
I'm not saying you're not wrong, bro. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that it is an awkward situation.
It is awkward. Can we level
from a human perspective?
I was going to say yes, but if Trey Lance sits there and the team thinks Lance is our guy,
that's it.
And historically, when a young quarterback has taken the reins, the veteran fucking moves on.
Yeah.
Quick.
No, you're right.
Quick.
But his coach has...
They realized... I mean, it's hard to
But Lance
say
hasn't played.
His coach has made it very apparent that he's the guy, though.
It's just bro, it's just funny to me how, I was going to sneak this. I wasn't going to mention this, but I have to sneak this in. It's funny how you're over here saying, oh, Jimmy Garoppolo, him coming back means nothing, whatever. But you criticize Jordan Love so much for not playing when Aaron Rodgers is above him.
Bro, Jordan Love's been in the NFL
Like
for fucking like
it's
3
easier.
years.
It's
But Trey Lance
easier.
is the starter at least. He's named the
I know.
starter.
What I'm saying
Who
is
is the
that
better prospect,
it's-
Jordan Love or Trey Lance? It's not close.
It's easy.
It's not close.
It's easy for the Niners to move on from Jimmy G.
I know.
You're making it sound like it's fucking difficult. With the Packers, it's actually difficult to move on from Aaron.
The issue with the Packers, I'm not a huge Jordan Love fan at all, as well, but from a like financial
Make this
NFL
quick.
standpoint, it doesn't make sense because like why the fuck draft Jordan Love? You sit him on the bench for 4 years. Now you got to pay him, but you have Aaron Rodgers.
I know,
That's
but
my bigger issue with Jordan Love.
I know, but I'm talking about Jordan Love. He was drafted. I know he should have never been drafted there, but he was drafted there. Him not playing, you cannot be like, oh, he fucking sucks because he's not playing.
Well, even
it's fucking Aaron
like,
Rodgers.
the small amount I see in the preseason isn't much. He's played one game in 3 years.
Oh, so now you're back.
Trey Lance has more starts than him
that's tough.
in the regular season.
That's
I
tough.
know because Aaron Rodgers doesn't get hurt, bro.
That's
he's
and
fucking
you want to
Iron
keep
Man.
Jimmy G, who always gets hurt.
No, that's what I'm saying. Cut
I'm
Jimmy.
saying, bro.
That's what I'm saying. It's easier to move on
Yes,
from
it
Aaron,
is.
Obviously,
Jimmy G.
Obviously.
Like whenever
I know.
we talk about Jordan Love, you make it
Talking
sound
about
like
the best quarterback.
Jordan Love sucks, though.
But what I'm saying is that whenever we talk about Jordan Love, Joel always makes it sound
Jordan
like
Love sucks,
it's easy for the Packers to just move on from Aaron.
No,
if that's
no,
really
I
your
say
franchise
keep
guy,
Aaron,
move on
move
from
off
Aaron.
Jordan Love.
Tough.
Keep Aaron. It's Aaron fucking Rodgers. You're not getting him again.
Yeah. All right, that's gonna do it for episode 206 of the Pick a Side Podcast.
That was right.
You can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Pick a Side Podcast, on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, and buy our merch at pickasidepodcast.com. Thank you guys for listening and or watching, and we'll see you next time.